Sports Network.
Well, the past couple weeks, you can certainly make the case that the Yankees have gone to the well to bring in veteran talent to help shore up the roster. But in the case of this man, they've actually gone to the wells. Vernon Wells acquired in a trade with the Angels, and there he is, making new friends and meeting new teammates, and we will see him in action tonight. New York Yankees baseball is presented by Verizon Fios. Tonight at George M. Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, it's the Yankees hosting the Houston Astros. And great to have you with us, as always, Bob Lorenz, along with Ken Singleton. Now, Vernon Wells, the latest veteran brought in, and everybody wants to know, can he help this team win?
Well, when you look at what Vernon Wells has done during the course of his career, and the Yankee fans remember him primarily with the Toronto Blue Jays, it's obvious he's been a very good player. A three-time All-Star, 273 career average, 259 career home runs, and he's coming up on 1,000 runs batted in his career. I think he can't help this Yankee team. After all, he's been an all-star. He knows the lay of the land in the Eastern Division, having played many years for the Toronto Blue Jays. And as I said, he used to do some very bad things to the Yankees. This time the Yankee fans will be rooting for Vernon Wells as he joins the ball club tonight.
He's in left field batting sixth tonight. We'll have a conversation with him. We'll hear from Meredith Marakovitz. Let's take a look at our Verizon Fios pitching matchup for tonight's game. CC Sabathia, his final game tune-up before opening day at Yankee Stadium against the right-hander Brad Peacock, vying for a spot in the Astros starting rotation. So it's a chilly night in Tampa, but that does nothing to keep the fans from flocking to the stadium for baseball. And we'll have it for you coming up on Yes, next. Tonight's game on Yes is brought to you in part by Tri Honda. Hurry to your local Tri Honda dealer for great deals on the 2013 Accord. By PC Richard & Son, the appliance, electronics, and computer giant. And by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Well, the Astros come in having won 4 of 5. They're 13-14 overall in Grapefruit League action. Let's take a look at tonight's Astros starting lineup presented by Hyundai. And the second baseman, Jose Altuve, will lead things off. Brett Wallace is at first base batting second. Chris Carter is out in left field hitting third. Carlos Pena, the veteran slugger, will DH and bat cleanup. Justin Maxwell, formerly with the Yankees, out in center field batting fifth. Carlos Corporon behind the plate. Matt Dominguez batting 7th, playing 3rd base. Brandon Barnes is out in right field, and Ronnie Cedeno will play short and round out the Bo Porter's lineup.
Well, right off the bat here, we've got CC Sabathia, 6'7" pitching for the Yankees tonight. He's made 1 spring start. He's thrown a lot on the backfield, on the side, minor league games.
And first pitch from CC to Altuve, and I'm assuming you brought up the 6'7" CC versus the more diminutive Mr. Altuve.
Altuve's 5'5", 74 wins, 29 losses. That's CC's record as a Yankee. That's the best winning percentage in Yankee history. And you saw 110 wins since 2007. That's the most in the major leagues. And since CC started his career back in 2001, nobody has struck out more batters than CC Sabathia.
15-6 last season. The ERA of 3.38, hit the 200 inning mark yet again. He's ahead of Altuve 1-2.
Altuve's having a good spring. As you mentioned, just 5'5", a fan favorite to say the least in Houston.
And out to left field and hooking foul. Let's take a look at the game time weather conditions brought to you by Toyota. And again, we mentioned a chilly night, and folks from the Bronx and New York know how to pack, don't they? Bringing their jackets down to Tampa, where it's 53 tonight, but very breezy, wind blowing left to right. Back in the Bronx, 45 degrees. So again, you got to know how to bundle up down here, which is not something we say very often on these telecasts.
Yeah, a lot of the Northerners are wearing the coats that they wore when they got off the plane.
Right. 1-2 to Altuve. And CC just missing outside 2-2.
I mentioned Altuve, a fan favorite. He's a favorite of also the Houston organization. He was their most valuable player last year, and he made the All-Star team. 349 career hitter against left-handed pitching. And the reason I bring that up, there's only one middle infielder since Altuve's been in the big leagues that's hit better against left-handed pitching, and that's Derek Jeter. Jeter's hit 366 against lefties.
Impressive stuff. Went to the All-Star game last year. And CC misses up high, and Altuve is aboard. Let's take a look at the defense for the Yankees behind CC Sabathia tonight. Out in left field, Vernon Wells. We'll talk a lot more about him throughout the course of the game. We'll hear from him as well. Brett Gardner's in center. Ichiro is out in right. Around the infield, it's Youkilis, Nunez, Cano, and Juan Rivera at first. Behind the plate, Chris Stewart doing the catching of CC Sabathia. So Vernon Wells acquired a couple days ago from the Angels, finalized with a physical today. And Altuve first pitch is on the go. Stewart on the money, and they got it.
Well, this is a time of spring when the base stealers really start to feel their oats. Their legs should be underneath them. They're thinking about getting off to a good start, not only with the bat, but on the bases. Not this time for Altuve, who stole 33 bases a year ago. This time, Chris Stewart hears none of it as Eduardo Nunez applies the tag.
And CC versus Brett Wallace. Misses 2-0. And for Stewart there, that was textbook stuff, Ken.
Goodness, that wasn't that easy a pitch to throw him because it was down in the zone. He got up quickly and had a quick release.
Wallace 3 spring home runs, knocks one out to right field and over the head of Ichiro. Wallace heading for second, and he'll be in there with a stand-up 1-out double.
Well, CC falling behind on the count, came in with a fat pitch, and Wallace jumped all over it. Wallace, in his college days, was Player of the Year twice in the Pac-10 as a sophomore and as junior at Arizona State. And that's the type of hitting he showed in college as he rips one over the head of Ichiro in right field. The Astros got him from Toronto for Anthony Gose. The Astros have a very young team, the youngest team in the major leagues.
And you will hear a lot this season about the Astros giving a lot of young guys a lot of opportunities. The door is wide open for Bo Porter's club for some guys to step up.
Yeah.
There's Chris Carter playing left field tonight. Nice performance when the A's brought him up last year. 16 home runs in just 67 games.
And the Yankee fans might remember Carter last year. He played first base for Oakland last year. We mentioned manager Bo Porter. Bo Porter's in his first year managing the A's. I should say the Astros. Wow, that's impressive.
And to the gap in right center field. Ichiro will have to track that to the wall as it one hops the wall. Wallace will score. And a second straight double. And the Astros are on the board 1-0.
Both doubles well hit. First the one by Wallace, and now Carter follows him on a ground rule double, and Ichiro on the retrieve. And that one just boomeranged off the warning track over the wall. One thing the Astros are going to have to do this year, score more runs than they did last year. They were last in the major leagues in run scoring. And this spring, they're actually having a good spring. They're second in Florida in home runs in the Grapefruit League.
And this, as we know, is a guy who can hit him. Carlos Pena, the veteran, signed in the offseason.
Of course, with the Astros moving to the American League this year, they're now in the American League West. They needed somebody to be a designated hitter, and this is their man, Carlos Pena.
Well, the Astros will be part of the American League West. A chance for balance within both leagues, 15 teams in each league, which means we'll see interleague play all the time. And it's going to be tough. I mean, this is a team that Kenny knew last year, 55-107, that take a 3-game series, for example. They knew they were going to lose 2 of every 3.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the end result or the bottom line. And a swing and a miss there, and Pena goes down on strikes.
Yeah, good curveball from CC Sabathia. Picks up his first strikeout of the night. Yeah, the Astros not only last year but the last 2 years, 213 losses. There's a good breaking ball, good downer over the top. Pena, you get a lot of home runs, but you also get a lot of strikeouts.
And right out of the gate, they're going to get a rude welcome to that American League West. Their first 15 games are against division foes.
Ooh.
First time the Yankees will see them in regular season play will be the end of April 29th to May 1st. And then the Yankees don't go to Houston until the final series of the regular season.
Yeah. Yankee fans might remember Justin Maxwell. He was in Yankee camp last year and had a very good spring. Better than the one he's having this year. Only the 1 home run, hitting 150. But he was there was no room for him last year, and the Yankees designated him for assignment. And that was on April 4th of last year. He was claimed by the Astros 4 days later.
And he ended up playing a career high 124 games for the Astros last year, had 18 home runs in 315 at bats.
Yeah, he led the team in home runs.
CC missing just inside. Count goes to 3-1.
I was reading about Maxwell today, and one thing jumped out at me. He's got 11 career at bats with the bases loaded, and he's hit 3 grand slams. 5 for 11 with 3 slams.
And a swing and a miss. And I saw you talking to him prior to the game. I didn't think there were many guys that were taller than you. He's actually a little taller and very lean guy, too.
Yes, he's in great shape. He doesn't look quite as bulked up as he did last year in Yankee camp, but
3-2 from CC to Maxwell.
It's interesting, Bob. Last year at the end of spring training, I was flying back to my home in Maryland, and Justin Maxwell is also from Maryland. He was on the flight, and I sat next to him, and he was kind of down. He'd just been let go by the Yankees. He knew he had a pretty good spring, and I tried to tell him, look, you had a good spring. Somebody was watching, and the Houston Astros were the team that was watching the most, I guess, and they're the ones who claimed him.
And takes a breaking ball into left field. Carter will round and score. Maxwell is on his way to second. 3 doubles in the inning for the Astros and a 2-0 lead.
Well, that breaking ball hung from CC Sabathia, and Maxwell, who wasn't catching up to the fastball, gets a breaking ball. It's just about thigh high. You can see the long reach. He reaches out and rakes this one into left field for a 2-base hit. And 3 extra base hits for the Houston Astros in the first inning. They have been swinging the bats a lot better this spring.
63 doubles for the Astros so far in 27 games.
41 homers, too.
And this is the catcher, Carlos Corporon.
Excuse me, Bob. He's 7 seasons with the Brewers organization. He's got a chance here. Everybody's got a chance on this team.
Yeah, and another guy putting up some nice numbers, batting .313 this spring. Now, a lot of times, Kenny, we say you can't put a whole lot of stock in spring training numbers, but you've mentioned second in the Grapefruit League in home runs, first now in doubles. Does that mean something, at least for this team, to know that they're a better team?
You're exactly right, Bob. It means something for a young team like the Houston Astros, players who are trying to make their way in the major leagues, make a team.
Cued off the bat to right field. That ball will drop in front of Ichiro. Maxwell on his way home. The ball just getting there at the same time. Maxwell is in as it squirts away from Stewart, and Corporon moves on to second. 3-0 Astros.
Well, the other hits were well tagged, but not this one. Jam shot, blooper in front of Ichiro in right field. Maxwell off with the crack of the bat with 2 outs, and it was going to be a close play at the plate. I'm not so sure they would have gotten him anyway. For a big guy, Maxwell runs very well. That's why he's playing in center field. There's the late tag, and besides the fact that Stewart didn't have the ball.
Well, they're making CC work, no doubt about it. 27 pitches so far in this first inning as the Astros have pushed 3 runs across. The number 7 hitter, Matt Dominguez, the third baseman now. Chopper to second. Cano on to first, and that will do it. But CC certainly got some work in here with the first as the Astros score 3. First chance for the Yankees coming up. Yankees here at the plate against the Astros. Let's take a look at tonight's Yankees starting lineup presented by Lexus. Brett Gardner will lead things off in center field. Ichiro is out in right field batting second. Robinson Cano at second base batting third. Kevin Youkilis will back cleanup. He's at third base. Travis Hafner is tonight's DH. First look at Vernon Wells out in left field in his first game in pinstripes. Juan Rivera is at first base batting seventh. Eduardo Nunez is at shortstop, and Chris Stewart rounds things out. He's doing the catching.
Yankee manager Joe Girardi looks on the mound for the Houston Astros tonight. 25-year-old right-hander Brad Peacock, and there's something on the line for him tonight. You can see what he's done so far this spring. He's had a couple of starts. He's fared pretty well with the 14 strikeouts and 14 2/3 innings, but he is pitching for his spot in the rotation. He is battling Alex White for the 4th spot in the Astros rotation. We'll get into their rest of the pitchers in the rotation. 2011, with the Washington Nationals organization, he was their minor league pitcher of the year. He got traded to Oakland in the Gio Gonzalez deal. And last year in the Oakland organization, he was the wins leader in the minor leagues for Oakland. And he was originally drafted as a catcher. He's from the east coast of Florida, over by West Palm Beach.
Well, the Astros happy to get their hands on him. He was considered the A's top pitching prospect at the time that they worked that trade. And here he'll start things off against Brett Gardner. Gardner batting .291 this spring. And takes strike one.
This is about the time of spring, Bob, where players are ready to play for real. Spring training can get old. This one's been particularly long because of the WBC. And you want to take it up north.
Yep.
You know, I've got my. You should be ready about now.
Well, they're getting conditioned tonight to opening day weather. Cool in the Northeast, we know that, in the Bronx, and it's cool down here as well.
Yep. There is a difference between cool and cold, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Breaking ball by Peacock, and down goes Gardner. Let's take a look at tonight's defense behind Brad Peacock, and we'll go left to right in the outfield. Carter, Maxwell, and Barnes. Around the infield, Dominguez, Cedeno, Altuve, and Wallace. Corcoran behind the plate. Peacock on the hill. You look at some of those names, and again, it's not a well-known roster, to say the least, but Ronnie Cedeno, a guy at short who has some veteran experience, was with the Cardinals part of last year, released just a couple weeks ago by the Cardinals, and they swooped in and picked him up.
Yeah, these are not Jimmy Wynn's Astros, you know. Cesar Cedeno, those type of players. Larry Durker, Don Wilson, they had some great teams over the years.
And Ichiro to the gap in right center field, but Barnes tracks it down, 2 away.
Before the game today, by the batting cage, there were some young fans calling for Robinson Cano's autograph, and they were calling Mr. Cano. And Ichiro looked around and said, "That's respect."
Yeah, they used to just yell for Robbie, didn't they?
Yeah, well, now it's Mr. Cano.
Robbie Cano is hitting at a .318 clip this spring. Has knocked in 5 runs and takes a breaking ball to start things off. Strike one.
Yeah, Peacock showing a good curveball. Before the game, I was talking to my former teammate Dennis Martinez, who is the bullpen coach for the Astros, his first year with them. And I asked him if Peacock's curve was as good as Dennis's, and he said no. Well, you know, when I think about Dennis Martinez's curveball, it was one of the best in the game. And Peacock has shown a pretty good one here, but he can't strut his stuff like Dennis could.
Can't put that feather in his cap? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like Dennis had an awesome curveball.
Shattered bat. Little kick save there by Peacock. And he gets Robbie Cano at first. So a 1-2-3 bottom of the first. We'll take it to the top of the second with the Astros on top 3-0. reporter's team up 3-0. And let's take a look at the team scouting report brought to you by Tri-Honda.
Well, the Houston Astros, 51 years in the National League. Now they move over to the American League this year. They came in the National League when the New York Mets did back in 1962. 583 runs scored. That's the fewest in Major League Baseball. They were outscored by 211 runs. And the $25 million there, that is their projected opening day payroll. And it might be as high as $30 million during the course of the year, but $25 million.
That's almost ridiculously low. Astros leading it 3-0 in the top of the second.
But that's what happens when you have a very young team. You don't have many guys who are way up there in payroll.
This is Brandon Barnes out in right field and lifts one out to right. Ichiro is there, one away. Jim Crane bought the team. He made it a mandate to really build up the minor leagues. And last July, before the trade deadline, they swung 5 trades, brought in 17 young players, got rid of some veterans like Carlos Lee and Wandy Rodriguez, and they're trying to build it from the ground up. But, you know, Kenny, how long can you go with a $25 million payroll of real, basically no names? I mean, you got to hope they win, but you've got to start a winning culture at some point to keep a fan base.
You do, but you're hoping that some of these young players develop into players like Jeff Bagwell and Craig Biggio did years ago. Near Hall of Famers, if not Hall of Famers, and that's what the Houston Astros are hoping for. It's going to take a little while, and you're right. It's going to might test the patience of the fans in Houston, particularly in the tough American League West. I mean, you're playing the Angels and the Mariners and the A's, and the Texas Rangers. Those are some tough teams. They open up against the Rangers.
Well, this is Ronnie Cedeno. Again, they signed him after he was let go by the St. Louis Cardinals. It was a guy they've had an eye on last year. They thought about bringing in, and he became available this spring. And in fact, they liked him so much, put him in that starting shortstop spot, that they let go of infielder Tyler Green. Cedeno gets one up out into left field. And Wells right there for his first putout in pinstripes, 2 away.
Yeah, we just saw a shot of Bo Porter, who's the first-year manager of these Houston Astros. And Bo originally was from Newark, New Jersey. He went to school at the University of Iowa, played both football and baseball at Iowa, has a degree in communications. And with Guayac High School in Newark, and 3 seasons as a major league player with the Cubs, the Athletics, and the Rangers. And his last job was as the third base coach for the Washington Nationals, a team that built their way up primarily through the farm system and has become the winningest team in Major League Baseball last year. The Yankees will see them on Friday.
Back to the top of the order, and Jose Altuve, who led the game off with a walk, was caught stealing by Chris Stewart. In that game, Kenny and I will be there. It'll be Andy Pettit against Jordan Zimmerman. 2 o'clock game on Yes. Two-1 to Altuve, misses, 3-1.
You know, Altuve kind of brings back memories for me. Altuve's listed at 5'5", and so was Freddie Patek, who played for the Kansas City Royals. And Patek was a 3-time All-Star with the Royals and the Pirates, and Altuve an All-Star already in his career.
And he's on board with a base hit with 2 away here in the second.
Yeah, good things come in small packages sometimes. And Patek, who I played against, in fact, I played with him in winter ball one year in San Juan, Puerto Rico, was nicknamed the Flea. And it was his job to get on base for the big dogs in the Royals lineup.
Well, he's the smallest of 3 guys over there at first base. Again, caught stealing his last time out, so we'll see. And he went on the first pitch. We'll see if he'll give it a go again against Stewart. CC misses high, 1-0. Brett Wallace doubled and scored in the first.
Brett Wallace, a first-team All-American at Arizona State. Arizona State has produced some very good baseball players. Reggie Jackson went there. Reggie was a football player as well as baseball.
So Bo Porter was the other Bo Nose,
yes.
two-sport athlete.
Yeah.
And out to left field. That'll chase Wells back, and that will do it. So a cleaner inning for CC Sabathia. We'll get our first look at Vernon Wells coming up. For business associates to Yankee Stadium for a group outing and enjoy Yankees baseball in an individual game suite. Individual game suites can accommodate groups as small as 12 and up to 382 guests with all-inclusive food and non-alcoholic beverage packages. Make your special occasion legendary. Call 212-YANKEES or log on to yankees.com/suites today. Bottom of the second, Kevin Youkilis leading things off against Brad Peacock, who fires a strike, 0-1.
Youkilis enjoying a power surge lately with the 5 home runs, leads the Yankees in homers this spring.
Three 0 Astros lead it here in the bottom of the second. A couple days ago, Kenny and I called the game in which Youkilis had 2 big home runs. He was showing us different parts of real estate that aren't often traveled here at Yankee Stadium or at Steinbrenner Field.
Yeah, the second one about halfway up the scoreboard. There's actually a mesh or a screen in front of the scoreboard to keep the baseballs from damaging it. And you see where his name is on the scoreboard. That's about where it hit. Look out. Speaking of hit.
And hit by pitch, and he's aboard.
Well, Peacock was ahead on the count. It looks like a breaking ball that didn't break enough. Like got a piece of the front elbow, and Youkilis should be okay. He's got the pad there. This is not the type of night you want to be hit by a pitch. It's a little chilly.
Now the DH, Travis Hafner.
Hafner was off to a bit of a slow start, but he too is starting to pick up the pace a little late. Hit a long home run the other day.
Another of many veterans brought in to help this offense fill in some blanks while the Yankees start the season with several players on the DL. Mark Teixeira, Curtis Granderson among them.
We saw both of them today. We saw Teixeira in the tunnel down near the Yankee clubhouse. We saw Granderson on the field. In fact, Granderson told me tonight was the first time he was able to go out and shag fly balls. So he got the okay to run around. He said they check his arm every week or so, and he said that there's progress being made. So he's coming along fine.
After liner to short, one away. Well, here's what you're talking about, Kenny. Granderson earlier getting to know Vernon Wells, by the way, and able to stretch.
He can catch fly balls, but he can't throw them back. So that's the broken right arm. Of course, he throws right-handed.
So Vernon Wells given number 56. And you see his numbers with the Angels this spring, very good. 4 homers, 11 runs batted in, batting .361. And Kenny, he made some changes in the offseason to his workout regimen, to the swing, most importantly, and he says thinks it'll pay dividends.
Well, certainly the Yankees hope so, and they're hoping that he can kind of regain the form he had in Toronto when he was playing against the Yankees. He really seemed to play very well against the Yankees. Got some big hits late in ball games. Of course, we know he's a good defender. He's won some Gold Gloves. And one thing we know about Vernon Wells, if you throw him a fastball above the belt, he is one of the best in the league at turning it around. Like that.
Hammered foul. He has that look like that's the one that got away.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you hit a ball well like that and it goes foul. You figure, no, I'm not going to get another pitch like that in this at bat. Sometimes you get lucky, though. That's a belt high fastball, and he quick wristed, but a little too quick.
One and two to Wells. And to left center field. Maxwell is there, 2 away.
You know what I find interesting about Vernon Wells, when he signed that big contract with Toronto, everybody thought he was untradeable. And of course, a lot of that money remained on that contract, but he's been traded twice under that same contract. It goes to show you that if somebody needs you, there's a way of working out a deal each time. He went to the Angels under that big deal, and now he comes to the Yankees. Not quite as much money left on it, but still quite a bit. And the Yankees and the Angels were able to work out a deal.
Well, now Juan Rivera. Rivera has been getting regular reps at first base with Mark Teixeira on the shelf, but then this afternoon the Yankees able to work a deal for a minor league deal for Lyle Overbay, the 36-year-old veteran who was released by the Red Sox. So they'll have a 3-day look essentially at Lyle Overbay. Then they'll have to make a decision by Friday. That's the deal that he cut with the Yankees.
Yeah, we saw him walking in the park today shortly before we saw Teixeira, who seemed to feel that things are coming along fine with him.
Yep. Anxious to get that wrap or that cast off his right wrist.
Yeah, didn't he mention he's going to be checked out in the next couple of days in New York? I think that's what he said.
Well struck out to left field, but right into the glove of Carter, and that will do it. So we'll take it to the top of the third. The Astros on top 3-0 here in Tampa.
How do I like this new
Yankees baseball, I'm Meredith Morakovitz. The big story of the day, of course, the fact that the Yankees acquired Vernon Wells via trade from the Angels. I had the opportunity to talk with Wells earlier today, and I asked him his first reaction when he found out that the Angels were going to trade him to the Yanks.
I was shocked. Just when you're nearing the end of spring training, you think, okay, this is going to be the team. And they called me in and told me it was the Yankees, and tried to hold back a smile and left and called my wife. And my wife and kids are excited, so it's the right place to be.
Now, you had a no-trade clause. Was there ever doubt in your mind? Was it a hard decision for you to say, I'm going to New York?
Well, I still want to get a chance to play every day. And Anaheim, I wasn't going to get a chance to play every day. It could happen eventually, but to be able to put this uniform on and know that I'm going to be out in left field, it's a pretty easy decision.
Now, you were speaking earlier today, and you had said you've been a little bit of a closet Yankees fan. Tell the story of when you first became a Yankees fan.
Well, the first time I played the Yankees in AAA, 1999, and Darryl Strawberry was on the team. There's just something different about the organization. It was the first time I kind of got goosebumps playing against a AAA team. And from that point on, I just quietly kept it to myself. My family and close friends knew that I've always loved the Yankees, and anytime Yankees were in the playoffs, I was obviously sitting at home because we're in the same division, and I was cheering for the Yankees all the time.
Now, obviously, you're a veteran guy, but what did it feel like to put the pinstripes on today and walk into that clubhouse?
Awesome. It's a dream come true. It really is, and I'm blessed to be able to do this. It's amazing that how timing works and his plan, but this will be fun.
It seems as though you've been swinging the bat pretty well this spring. What's been the biggest difference? I know you've made some adjustments in the offseason.
Just getting back to basics, just trying to make consistent contact. If I'm able to do that, then I can still hit the ball out of the yard, but it's not just it should be a byproduct of good swings, and as many good swings as you can make, that's where you become a good hitter again. And I've gotten away from that. I've been trying to just hit home runs for the last couple of years, and it'll be good to get back in the East and get back in familiar confines and get back to doing what I'm used to doing.
Short porch?
A couple different ways. Both good ways to go. You get in those gaps a little bit. It gets a little tricky, but it's a great place to play. There's no other atmosphere like it. So I'm looking forward to hearing some cheers instead of some of the things I can't repeat from the bleacher section.
And Vernon Wells hit a combined .222 the last 2 seasons, but it looks as though those off-season adjustments have already paid off in the spring, hitting .361 the time he spent in 11 games with the Angels this season. A guy that is extremely excited to be here with the Yankees organization. You heard him say he was a little bit of a closet fan ever since playing against that team in AAA. And it's interesting, he's not the only acquisition of the day. I think you guys talked about it already. Lyle Overbay was signed to a minor league deal, and they played together in Toronto. It was funny. Lyle Overbay walked into the clubhouse, went over, found Vernon Wells. They gave each other a hug, welcomed each other, said, good to see you. And then Wells turned to him and said, hey, I'd tell you where stuff is, but I don't know either. I just got here.
Oh, it's a learning process for both these guys, even if they are veterans. Meredith, thanks. We'll get together with you a little later for interviews and then some more Yankees notes.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, sounds good. Now, to make room on the 40-man roster for Wells, the Yankees releasing infielder David Adams today. And Yankees fans, if they're curious about what went back to the Angels, it was a couple of Class A ball players, pitcher Kramer Sneed and outfielder Exicardo Cayones. So they were lower-level prospects. Most people thought that would be the case, given the amount of money that the Yankees were willing to assume.
Well, the fact is he was right. There wasn't much room for him playing time for him in Anaheim. You had Peter Borgios, who the Angels wanted to play center field. Mike Trout, of course, is in left field, and they signed Josh Hamilton to a big time money. So those guys are going to play.
Well, CC has set down the first 2 batters, Chris Carter and Carlos Pena, in this inning. A pop to Robbie Cano and a strikeout of Pena.
CC looks a lot better this time around than he did the first inning when pitchers were hanging. By the way, the Yankees' second road trip begins in Toronto, so it should be interesting to see what the reaction Vernon Wells gets in a Yankee uniform at Rogers Center.
And Maxwell holds up, checks his swing, and by the way, to show how serious the Blue Jays are about the changed culture and winning, they optioned Ricky Romero to Class A today
to
work out his problems and installed a J-HAP.
To Class A?
To Class A.
Well, they did that years ago with Roy Halladay, and that worked out pretty well.
CeCe misses. Ball 4 to Maxwell.
Romero was their #1 starter a year ago. Had a poor season. I guess it carried over this spring, and one of their A-ball clubs is right up the road here in Dunedin.
That's where he's headed.
That's
yep.
Well, I'm sure he will. Dunedin's a long way from Toronto, literally.
And now Carlos Corcoran, the catcher, singled and drove in a run in that 3-run first.
I wanted to bring up one of the things that Wells said in his interview with Meredith. He mentioned the fact that he's trying to hit too many home runs, and sometimes players who sign big-time contracts, they try and live up to them in ways that they shouldn't be doing. Wells was a good hitter, let alone a hitter could hit home runs. Instead of hitting 30 as he was able to trying to do, it looked like he was trying to hit 40 or 50 to live up to the big numbers, and that's not the player he was. He could get to 30. I'm sure if he hits 20 for the Yankees, they'll take that this year.
Now, would you agree that the idea of having to live up to that contract for him now, after being traded twice with that contract, that's pretty much out the window?
Yeah, I would think so.
Corcoran lifts it out to right. Ichiro right along the line, makes the catch, flips it to a fan in the stands, and that will do it here in the top of the third. A man aboard and nothing else. Ichiro ends the inning. We're headed to the bottom of the third. Yankees fan at George M. Steinbrenner Field tonight is over the moon about being here. Kenny, beautiful full moon out tonight.
Anytime I see a shot of a full moon, I think of the honeymooners. Of course, I'm kind of dating myself, but that's okay. It's beautiful.
But they're on in reruns, so you're not dating yourself that much.
Exactly. It's on somewhere right now.
3-0 Astros, bottom of the third.
Yeah, it is one of those blanket nights.
We don't have a Norton, but they do have a Bud Norris is our opening day starting pitcher. About as close as we can get. Here's Eduardo Nunez, batting 8th, playing short tonight. Nunez puts a charge into one, sends it out to center field, but Maxwell tracks it and has it one away.
Well, the wind is blowing from left to right, and Nunez took on the wind, and the wind won that one. Sometimes you can't go against the elements. It has been very gusty here the last 2 days.
Chris Stewart batting ninth, doing the catching. A home run and 5 runs batted in this spring. Working with CC Sabathia tonight. Obviously, Kenny, is that something you think we'll see in the regular season?
Well, CC and Stewart worked quite a bit together last year and seemed to be a very prominent duo.
Pops one up. Corporate, the catcher, will have it. 2 away. Well, Friday afternoon, the Yankees make their way back to the Bronx, but not before a quick stop in Washington to take on the Nationals. And Monday, April 1st, it's opening day at Yankee Stadium as the Bombers kick off the 2013 season against the rival Red Sox. Coverage starts early at 11:30 a.m. only on Yes.
Opening day, always a special occasion.
Excitement, obviously, for the players to be out of spring training, be back at work in the grind of the regular season, but great for us, too. There's always so much pageantry of opening day and just that feeling that baseball's back.
You know, as I said before, all these players are ready to win, especially the ones that are going to make the team. Now, I know there's some players on pins and needles. You know, look at Brad Peacock on the mound tonight. He's not sure if he's going to Houston or not to start the season. Oh, maybe I should amend that. He will go to the bullpen if he doesn't make the starting rotation.
Yeah, he did get the good news.
Yeah.
They mentioned that the other day, that they brought about 9 players into a conference room and told them, hey, you guys, you've done what you need to. You're a part of this.
Yeah,
and he just doesn't know quite what his role is yet.
You can imagine how those guys felt going into the room. They're going to send us all out at once.
Which group is this? The one that's staying or the one that's going? They got voted in.
Yes, they did. Didn't get voted off the island.
Brett Gardner struck out looking to lead things off in the Yankees half of the first. Now, you mentioned the starting rotation for the Astros.
Yeah.
Peacock hopes to be a part of that. They'll have Bud Norris, who was pretty successful last year. Eric Bedard, a veteran name that people would know.
Lucas Harwell, Philip Umber, either Peacock or Alex White, and Bedard. So that's going to be their rotation.
And Gardner draws a 2-out walk. There's that whole starting rotation. And again, Norris, the headliner. He was named the opening day starter by Bo Porter. Very good numbers at home last year.
Yeah.
A sub-3 ERA. And at Minute Maid Park, Kenny, that's pretty impressive. That's a hitter's ballpark.
Yes, it is. The fences are quite reachable. Both in left and right field. Center field a little bit more difficult, but left and right. Play to pull or play to slice, one or the other.
Here's Ichiro with 2 away. And Gardner, first pitch is on the move. Quick release by Corcoran, and they got him. So a couple stolen base attempts tonight, on one on each side. And both guys gunned out, in this case Gardner, and that will do it here in the bottom half of the third. Again, quick release by Corcoran, and Gardner running out of time. Back at the top of the fourth in Tampa, Astros lead the Yankees 3-0, scoring all three of their runs in the first inning. CC Sabathia has settled down the last two. No hits for the Yankees yet.
Another example of a young player on the Astros, 23 years old, Matt Dominguez at the plate. And the Astros got him from Miami in the Carlos Lee deal. You talked about them getting rid of some bigger contracts and trying to get some young players. And Dominguez is their third baseman, 23 years old.
Well, they used as a team a club record 50 different players last year. As Dominguez flips one out into right, Ichiro is there, one away.
You know, it's interesting. We talked about Bo Porter. It's his first year as a manager of these Astros and how a first-year manager puts together a coaching staff. Now, one thing he did, he went back to some old ties that he had in the minor leagues. He came up through the Cubs system, and his first manager in the Cubs system was third base coach Dave Tremblay. And he called Tremblay during the winter. And Tremblay, of course, remembers the Orioles manager before Buck Showalter. And he said to him, he called him at midnight. And Tremblay said, "What are you doing? Call me at midnight. I'm asleep here." And Bo Porter said, "We got the job." And he said, "What do you mean we?" He said, "I've been named the new manager of the Houston Astros, and you are going with me."
Loud shot out to left by Brandon Barnes that Vernon Wells will just watch fly. A home run for Barnes and a 4-0 Astros lead. Again, showing off that power. 42 spring home runs for this Astros ball club.
Yeah, they certainly appear they're going to be able to score more runs this year. And if their pitchers do a decent job, maybe they'll fare better than people thought. It's a high fastball. He turns on it and drills it over the wall in left field.
Now the number 9 hitter, Ronnie Cedeno. So I'm assuming that Dave Tremblay didn't take a lot of convincing to get him on board.
Well, 3 different times. Tremblay told me 3 different times he managed Bo Porter in the minor leagues. And they forged the bond. And it was interesting that Porter used the words, "We have the job." And you know, now he's his third base coach.
Good guy to have around, especially familiarity with the American League, in which the Astros are now part of.
And Tremblay, like a lot of these coaches on the staff, is a teacher. There's the rest of the coaching staff.
Now you've got 2 former major league pitchers in Doug Brocail and Dennis Martinez. Knowing El Presidente, as you originally coined that nickname for him, what can he bring to the table for a young staff?
Well, first of all, I think the presence of a veteran who has been through it before and has had a lot of success, more wins than any other Latin pitcher, Dennis Martinez. He's the bullpen coach.
Cedeno goes down on strikes.
And, of course, I did give him the nickname El Presidente. There he is. When he's the first player ever from Nicaragua to pitch or play in the major leagues. And he and Tony Chavez, who was also from Nicaragua, got called up to the Orioles. It was obvious that Dennis was the better of the 2 pitchers. So Dennis became El Presidente and Tony became Visa Presidente. But Dennis went on to have a great career, not only with the Orioles, the Montreal Expos. He pitched a perfect game for Montreal, the 13th in big league history. 1991 at Dodger Stadium against the Dodgers. That was one of the few good things that happened to the Expos team that year.
Jose Altuve to third. And Kevin Youkilis across, a ball that Juan Rivera can't pick. And so Altuve's aboard.
That's going to go as an error on the throw by Youkilis. Ball in the dirt that Juan Rivera cannot handle. In and out of the glove.
We've seen that happen a couple times. We saw that in the last game as well 2 days ago.
Yeah, I think what has happened over the years, Bob, and I think you'll agree with me, the Yankee fans have been spoiled by Mark Teixeira at first base. And a lot of their infielders have been spoiled by having him over there as well.
So 2 away, Altuve aboard, and Brett Wallace is the hitter, and Wallace lifts one out to center field. And no harm, no foul as Gardner tracks it down, and that will do it. But Brandon Barnes goes solo, adds another run. It's 4-0 Astros. Mazda upcoming schedule for the Yankees. One more game tomorrow at Sarasota tomorrow, and Thursday against Pittsburgh before they pack up and head to D.C. for the game against the Nats on Friday here on Yes, Saturday against Army in West Point, and then the off day Sunday before the regular season begins on April 1st, next Monday, 1 o'clock game here on Yes, pregame coverage beginning at 11:30.
You know, Bob, one thing that's interesting about tonight's game is Yankee manager Joe Girardi looks around. Two situations that the starting pitchers in tonight's game are completely opposite. CC Sabathia is just getting his work in. He knows on opening day against the Red Sox he's taking them out. Brad Peacock, on the other hand, he's got to pitch well. And even if he does, there's no guarantee he's going to be in the starting rotation. Now, he's going to make the team, but the fact is that he wants to be a starter.
Well, he's making a good case tonight.
Yes,
so far, he's held the Yankees quiet. No hits in the first 3 innings. Now here's Ichiro leading things off in the bottom of the 4th. Ichiro flew out to right in his first at bat.
And I can recall days back, well, you know, many moons ago, but facing the big time pitchers in spring training, it was definitely not the same as the regular season.
Ichiro lifts one out to second base, and that's Altuve, one away. Now, you mentioned players are anxious to go get the regular season started. As we walk through the Yankees clubhouse today from the field, you can see empty lockers, a lot of boxes packed up, a lot of suitcases.
It's time to go. In spring training, you know, everybody's happy to see each other at the beginning, and you start getting your acts together. Hopefully you get through with as few injuries as possible. That wasn't the case for the Yankees this year. And then you get towards the end of spring training, and these games, they realize they don't mean anything. You know, basically just trying to get the pitchers ready.
Cano first pitch swinging. Altuve makes it 2 away.
And they're anxious to start the season for real. Baseball players are very competitive people. They start to realize these spring training standings, nobody's going to remember them after April the 1st.
Two away. Here's Kevin Youkilis on board, leading things off in the bottom of the 2nd when he was hit by a pitch. And again, Kenny, with the signing of Lyle Overbay today, and I'll talk about that in just a second, to frees Kevin Youkilis up to potentially just stay at third. And he's obviously very comfortable at the plate from what we saw a couple days ago.
Yeah, one home run off Jeremy Hellickson and one off Jamie Wright. And the second one in particular was really, really smoked.
You know, I think there's a thought that Youkilis could play some first base while they wait for Mark Teixeira to come back. Don't know how it's going to shake out with Lyle Overbay, but if he is an option at first base, maybe he just stays anchored at third.
Yeah, Overbay has always been a pretty good fielder.
And Cedeno has a problem with that one, and Youkilis will be aboard. Well, they acquired a pitcher as well, the Yankees. They got Dan Otero, claimed off waivers from the Giants. Overbay, again, it's basically a 3-day audition. They have to decide by Friday whether he's going to stick around. And then Vernon Wells will be here. He's got 2 years left on that deal that we talked about.
Sounds like Overbay will be playing tomorrow night against Baltimore down in Sarasota.
I'll have to get a look in a hurry, no doubt about it. Here's Travis Hafner, lined to short in his first at bat. Youkilis is aboard on the E6 with 2 away.
Cold beer here, Bud Light.
So you take a look at Youkilis here, kind of flexing his hand there after he hit that ball to short.
Yeah, he might have hit the ball off the end of the bat, and you get a stinger on a night like tonight.
Again, temperatures in the low 50s tonight here in Tampa, with the wind blowing, knocking that down even further into the 40s, most likely, with the wind chill.
You know what? When you talk about the temperatures, I'm thinking about early season cold games. You go back to when Andy Pettitte opened in the snow at Yankee Stadium against the Royals. Now, Hafner and Youkilis are very similar type hitters. They usually don't chase bad pitches. They each go deep into counts. And I think that's one thing that's going to benefit the rest of the lineup. These guys are going to be hitting a hit on most counts. They're not going to chase many pitches. And when you run you try and get the starter out of the game by raising his pitch count. And that's one thing that both Hafner and Youkilis are capable of doing. Now he's got a positive count. He gets something he likes, he's going to put a positive swing on.
He did exactly that and comes up with a 2-out base hit. Youkilis holding up at second. First and second, 2 away for the Yanks.
They hit one right through the shift. Hafner's starting to come on. You know, sometimes the power hitters, it takes them a little bit longer to fine-tune and hone their swings. But lately, all along, he was not swinging at bad pitches. He just wasn't hitting the ones that he was capable of hitting. And now he's starting to pick up the pace as we get towards the end of spring training. As a hitter, certainly somebody who's a designated hitter, that's what you want to have.
And we remember last spring, Raul Ibanez started off slow, got hot just as they broke camp. Perhaps Hafner's doing the same thing. Second at bat for Vernon Wells. Flew out to center field in his first at bat. Breaking ball in for strike 1. You take a look at Wells over the last 4 years. The numbers always solid with Toronto. The 31 homers in 2010. He went to the Angels. Still representative numbers in terms of home runs, Kenny, with 25. But then last year it was really just became a lost season for him, and he became the odd man out in that outfield.
Yeah, he suffered a thumb injury early in the season, and that's basically when Mike Trout came back. And when Mike Trout came back, he took off. Almost became the MVP, certainly the Rookie of the Year. And there wasn't much room for Vernon Wells.
Out to left field, well struck, but hooking foul.
Yeah, we talked about Wells and how he fared against the Yankees over the years. And those are some pretty impressive numbers against the New York Yankees. .301, 29 homers and 106 runs batted in. And the slugging percentage is up there as well against New York Yankees. I can recall a walk-off home run he hit in Toronto. And I think it was on a 3-0 pitch. They gave him the green light and he won the game.
Got a chance to do some damage here with 2 aboard and 2 away, and instead pops one up right side. Altuve goes back. Barnes comes up, and Barnes will have it, and that will do it. Yanks get a couple on, but can't push them across, so we'll take it to the top of the 5th with the Astros leading it 4-0. And we're back in the top of the 5th. 4-0 Astros on the Audi scoreboard. CC Sabathia will face the 3-4-5 hitters here in the top of the 5th. And we welcome in the manager, Joe Girardi. Joe, well layered tonight, we see down there.
Yeah, it's a little chilly tonight. This will get us ready for opening day, that's for sure.
Well, on the flip side of that, CC started off a little cold, 3 first-inning runs, but he's had a nice little run here through the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th innings.
Yeah, I thought his slider was a little flat in the first inning, got him in a little bit of trouble, and his command was a little bit off. But he's gotten better as the games has went on. And we've seen CC have trouble in the first inning at times, and you try not to let it happen, but we've seen it happen.
I mentioned the fact that the 2 pitchers tonight in totally different situations. CC Sabathia knows he's going to be on the mound opening day, and Brad Peacock, he's trying to earn a spot in the rotation. And I think, if I can remember correctly, that sometimes plays out in spring training games.
Oh, it does, because I think as much as you want to say that you have your A attitude out there, it just doesn't quite have the same meaning for CC. He's just worried about getting his work in and making sure he has all his pitches ready. Where the other kid Peacock is really trying to compete for a spot. So there's more there.
That was a good changeup from CC right there.
Now, he obviously wants to get a feel for all his pitches here in his last kind of game outing. Is that a little tougher to do on a night like tonight?
Well, it can be, but I don't think it's that cold that he'll have a problem doing that. I really don't.
Carter lifting one out to right field, chasing Ichiro back. And again, that wind blowing out to right field, but Ichiro has it on the warning track, 1 away.
I think we all have to remember that CC started his career pitching for Cleveland. I'm sure it wasn't 80 degrees in Cleveland very often on opening day or night.
I know. I was there for one opening day, and we got snowed out the first day, and the next day was quite chilly as well. So can't expect that warm weather in Cleveland this time of year.
Well, your general manager, Brian Cashman's been busy. We look out in left field tonight, and new left fielder. We saw Lyle Overbay walk into the clubhouse, and he's trying to bring reinforcements for you, Joe.
Yeah, he's trying to get a look at some of these guys and add pieces if we feel that it's a good fit. So he has been busy, and we talked about this last week. You could see some changes possibly depending on what kind of shook out for us, and it's still not over, I'm sure.
There's Carlos Pena with the 1 away. Did you even have much time to have a chat with him at all?
Vernon, no. He got his physical today, and he got here probably 3, 4 o'clock. We had meetings and went through BP, and they stretched on one field. The outfielders, the infielders, and the pitchers were going through a drill. So I was over there.
Now, obviously, career numbers very good against the Yankees, and fans know what he did in Toronto, and 2 down years really with the Angels. But you've got to be encouraged with the numbers that he put up so far this spring.
I am, and you know, he's a guy that's played in the American League East, understands the landscape, knows a lot of these pitchers that he's going to be facing. Was a good center fielder in Toronto. Since then has moved to left field, but you know, I think his defense is going to be good as well.
What's the plan for Overbay? I know it's a real quick look at him, right?
Yeah, it's going to have to be quick because we don't have that many more games left. You know, I'll try to get him in tonight, maybe give him a start tomorrow, and then we'll go from there.
1-1 to Pena, misses away.
I kind of like these new unis that the Astros have.
Yeah, they kind of harken back to like the Colt 45 days.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's interesting how Carlos Pena has blue sleeves on, and everyone else has orange. Yeah, there's a mix-up there.
You know, I think a lot of people, and I know you, Joe, you don't take any team for granted. You can't do that. But what do you think of this Astros team? The fact that, you know, I mean, Bo Porter probably had to hand out name tags when the season began.
Well, he's got some young players that are obviously very hungry and trying to prove themselves, and that can be a lot of fun to watch during the course of the season as you watch these kids grow up. You know, they got some power in this lineup, so I think they're going to score some runs. It probably depends on how well they pitch and how well their young pitchers adjust.
Now, before the game today, Joe, I had a chance to introduce you to Dennis Martinez. I don't know if you'd ever met Dennis before.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, he reminded me that the first home run he ever gave up in the major leagues was to Derek Jeter, and that was in Cleveland, and you were there that day.
I was there, and by the time the ball got to the left field seats, I think it was frozen. So we were talking about Dennis a little bit earlier in the dugout about when he pitched in Montreal and how good his curveball was, and how he used to spit on the ball, and it would get a little bit darker. And I tell you what, he had incredible stuff. I mean, he really did. He was fun to watch.
Yeah,
I didn't like hitting off him. I know that.
You mentioned his curveball, and I was fortunate enough to do the game that he pitched a perfect game. And the call by my partner, you'll appreciate this, Joe, as a former broadcaster, was Dave Van Horn, and his call on the final out was El Presidente, El Perfecto.
Yeah. And you know what? It's not surprising. I mean, I know you have to have a little bit of luck to throw a perfect game or a no-hitter. But he had that swing and miss curveball that, you know, if it was on, he had great stuff that start. And, you know, are you surprised anytime a guy throws a perfect game? Yeah. But he had great control and had a real swing and miss pitch.
Just a side note on what we just saw there, you got to be thrilled with Chris Stewart today.
Yeah, he can really throw the baseball. He really can. He gets rid of as quick as anyone I've been around.
I asked Kenny about this, so I'll ask you. Will we see Stewart and Sabathia together a lot?
You know, I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it. You know, I've said all along, you know, we might take the first month to kind of just feel it out and go through it and mix and match a little bit. If someone gets hot and starts swinging the bats, catching, well, I might play them every day, too.
And this is Justin Maxwell with two away.
Justin came over and said hello to you before the game, too.
Yeah. Just a great person. And we liked him here. We just didn't have enough room for him on our roster, and we were happy for what he did in Houston last year, and I think he'll be a good leader on this club because he just does things the right way.
And a swing and a miss there. Will that do it for Sabathia, Joe?
Yes, I think that'll be it.
All right, sounds good. Always good talking to you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
Well, that'll end things here in the top half of the 5th inning. CeCe's work probably done. 4-0. Astros lead it. Well, tonight after the game, get a preview of the upcoming season with Yankees 2013 Pride, Power, and Pinstripes. Join the Yes crew in Tampa as we look at the big storylines, including roster breakdowns and interviews with Derek Jeter, Mariano Rivera, and manager Joe Girardi. It's Yankees 2013 tonight after the game, only on Yes. Astros lead this one 4-0 as we head to the bottom of the 5th. 4-zip on the Audi scoreboard.
That's a fun show to do. That Pride, Power, and Pinstripes every spring.
Yep.
I look forward to it.
We dig deep in the minds of people like Ken Singleton,
Michael Kay,
Jack Curry, Al Leiter,
John Flaherty, Lou Piniella. Yeah.
Juan Rivera leading things off. You know, it's got to be a relief for Joe Girardi knowing that despite all the sort of tempest of changes and players out and new players coming in, position players, that starting rotation is kind of anchored, certainly by CC Sabathia, who pitched 5 innings tonight.
Yeah, that's very true.
Rivera out to right.
The one thing I wanted to ask Joe, wow, Barnes up against the wall. I wanted to ask Joe, but I wanted to ask him how it felt for him to see Curtis Granderson on the field tonight. You know, it's just seeing him, maybe showing that he's coming back. Eventually, he will be back here.
And again, you hope that maybe Vernon Wells can help bridge that gap. You know, they're losing a lot of power with Granderson out of that lineup. Perhaps Wells can provide some pop. Here's Nunez, flew out to center in his first at bat.
You know, although Granderson's got a fractured forearm as Mariano Rivera begins to warm up, and Teixeira is dealing with that tendon in his wrist. Other than that, they look like they were ready to play baseball. That's a good thing. They're still maintaining the ability to. They can run, do treadmill sort of work, but they can't just swing a bat. That's the one thing they can't do.
Yeah, and for Teixeira, you have to be so careful.
Yes.
That wrist just gets so dicey. So many little moving parts in there.
But he mentioned something about light swinging, and then not too far in the future, if everything checks out okay soon.
Like he said, about a week's worth of some rehab exercises to strengthen the wrist, and then maybe he could start swinging after that.
Well, Brad Peacock on the mound tonight, in my mind, has not done anything that would hurt his chances of being the 4th starter for the Houston Astros this year. He's looked pretty good.
Yep, he's allowed just a single to Travis Hafner. That's the lone hit for the Yankees.
Single and a walk. There's been an error, and he's hit a batter. Outside of that, he's looked very, very good. So pitching coach Doug Brocail. Yankee fans might remember him as a reliever for the Detroit Tigers a few years back. I'm sure Brocail's happy, along with manager Bo Porter.
It's interesting to see this sort of next generation of players that we remember that were contemporaries, were recent, that they're getting into the game as coaches. And Tino Martinez now, the hitting coach with the Marlins, and sort of thing, as Nunez walks.
And the bench coach is Eduardo Perez. I played against his dad, so that a Hall of Famer, Tony Perez. Young coaching staff.
Chris Stewart popped to the catcher in his first at bat.
There's Eduardo.
And lifts one into the night sky once again, this time to the left side. And Dominguez has it, 2 away. Well, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Nunez aboard at first on the walk, 2 away now, and back to the top of the order, and Brett Gardner.
Girardi's got a no contact night today. He's struck out, drawn a walk, and was caught stealing. It's interesting because he went on the first pitch. Usually he doesn't do that.
Nunez goes on the second pitch. Corcoran down to second on the third base side of the bag, and Nunez is in with a stolen base.
And shortstop Cedeno had to come up with a short hop throw from Corcoran. And couldn't do that and swipe the tag at the same time as Nunez going to be in scoring position now with 2 outs. Good pitch to throw on. Steps right into the throw. Short hops it. Cedeno looked like he might have had him if he holds on to the ball. Take another look. Or maybe not. No, he was safe. That left hand got in there. Nunez brings the ability to steal bases to the base paths.
And Gardner looks at strike 1, 2-1.
See Nunez flexing that wrist. You know, sometimes you can. That's why the base runners wear those protective braces on the hand that they usually reach for the bag. Keep it from bending backwards.
And Gardner drills one to the gap in right center field. That will easily score Nunez. As Maxwell tracks it down, Gardner's off to the races, going for 3, and he's in there standing up. An RBI triple for Brett Gardner with 2 away, and the Yankees are on the board 4-1.
Anytime Gardner finds a gap, you are thinking 3 bases. And he made that one look easy. Whoa, into third, now just watch him run. Gets out of the box well, makes a nice turn at first. Here's where he's thinking third. Nice turn at second. No chance to get him. Has to throw out the drag chute, slows down at third. So the stolen base pays off. Although Nunez would have scored from first on the triple.
You mentioned Nunez going into the bag with that left hand. Kevin Long, they're talking. He's kind of flexing that left hand still.
Now there's the danger. One of the dangers of the head first slide. You jam your wrist, you jam a finger. Or remember Kenny Lofton years ago dislocated a shoulder, I think, diving into first base.
Boy, and you're seeing the finish line of spring training. You just want to break camp with no more injuries.
Ooh.
Even if it's a small one, you don't want Nunez to be debilitated in any way. So 2 away. Gardner's at third, and here's Ichiro. Looks at a breaking ball, strike 2.
Here's another look. Look at the left hand into the bag. You can see how the hand or the arm is thrown backwards as he tries to hold on to break his momentum. And right away he flexes the hand.
Ichiro out to left and into the seats.
Always felt when Ichiro got 2 strikes, this is when it really became dangerous. Maybe not 0-2, because he's very difficult to strike out. He's always going to put the bat on the ball, and he can flare one just about anywhere. You look where the Astros are playing in the outfield. Very shallow and around the left field. Very shallow. And that's why Ichiro, when he gets a ball into the gap, it's more or less going to be a triple. It's not going to be a double because the outfielders have to go further to get the ball.
Well, you bring up a great point. Even with 2 strikes, he's going to make a pitcher earn it to get out of it. And he's able to just flick those. Even you saw Peacock trying to just go a little further outside. He can just flick those and stay alive. Oh, 2 again, goes breaking ball and chops one over by the Yankees dugout.
I always like to watch the gyrations he goes through to get set in the box. It's you know, I know fans have their favorite players, and the youngsters do. They will emulate their players, and you know, you have Jeter sticking his hand up before hitting. Ichiro with the leg flex.
Ground ball to first, and Wallace will take it himself. So that will do it, but not before Eduardo Nunez scores on the 2-out RBI triple by Brett Gardner. It's 4-1. Well, tonight's game on Yes is brought to you in part by the Chevy Cruze. Cruze offers an EPA estimated 38 miles per gallon based on EPA estimates. Visit fueleconomy.gov for details. By IMG Academy Youth Sports Camps and Private School. Become more at IMG Academy. And by Acura. Acura Advance. Top of the 6th inning. And who else but Mariano Rivera taking the mound in relief of CC Sabathia. Sabathia going 5 innings, giving up 4 runs, 6 hits. And now, time for Mo.
It's amazing how fired up the crowd gets when they start playing Enter Sandman. And Michael Kay has called it the greatest entrance in sports, and that I can't disagree with him.
Well, even the spring training place gets rocking when that starts playing. And fans excited. Obviously, they're seeing Mo, who will retire at the end of the season for some of these folks that are here for the last time, unless they see him on TV.
Yeah, you know, speaking of TV, our producer Bill Boland pointed out this will probably be the last time you will see Mariano Rivera pitch on Yes in this stadium. This is it.
Well, no real surprise here that he's been sensational this spring. 5 scoreless innings. Carlos Corporan has to go get a new bat. That's not a surprise either.
And of course, as Mo makes the rounds this year and visiting each city for the last time. One city he hasn't visited very often has been Houston, and ironically, that's where the Yankees end the season. The regular season.
Cutter got him.
And if I'm Corcoran, don't feel like the Lone Ranger. There's been a lot of guys who've taken that route back to the dugout.
And now the third baseman, Matt Dominguez. Rounded out to second and flew out to right.
Just like he's playing catch with Chris Stewart.
Swing and a miss, strike two.
There just happens to be a hitter in between the two of them.
Right. Well, it seems every time we've seen Mo this spring, you see a strikeout swinging, a strikeout looking, a broken bat. If somebody does get on, it's just a little flare single.
It's because he hangs out on the corners. If he misses, he doesn't miss in the middle of the plate. Or rarely, let's put it that way. Nobody's perfect, so. Ooh. That was supposed to be the front door cutter. And you can see a little smile on his face, like maybe Tony Bassler missed this one. Didn't quite get the call. Gonna make me work a little harder, huh? Okay.
Well, the crowd certainly thought so. Chopper foul. And to third base, Euclid on the short hop across the diamond, 2 away. You know, people always talk about the amazing success of Mo with just one pitch. But how about, because of the one pitch, just one delivery? He keeps it so simple and repeats that delivery probably better than any pitcher you can think of.
Yeah, actually, it's more than one pitch, because certain pitchers outside the fastball, they have problems controlling pitches to certain areas of the strike zone. But Mo can put that cutter just about anywhere he wants to. So it's more like 4 pitches instead of 1. He can pitch to all quadrants of the strike zone. Up and out over the outside corner, up and in, down and away. So it's like 4 pitches in 1.
Do you think if he had 2 or 3 different pitches, maybe a traditional breaking ball, that kind of thing, that he wouldn't be able to repeat the delivery? Maybe it changes the arm angle a little bit?
I don't think so. I think that he's good enough, and his delivery itself is simplistic enough that he'd be able to do it. But he's just been amazing.
Yep. And he doesn't need to, bottom line.
No, exactly. He hasn't needed to. You know, every once in a while you see a 2-seamer, but it's almost as if it's a backdoor cutter. I mean, a backup cutter.
Brandon Barnes fouls off the 2-1 pitch, 2-2. Barnes with a solo home run in the 4th.
Actually, that was the most hittable pitch that Mariano's thrown this inning, and Barnes had a pretty good swing at it.
And Yankees fans know the moment with 2 away, 2-2. Here's that pitch again.
See, that one was more towards the middle. And he's as good at putting away hitters as anybody who's ever been on the mound.
And Barnes lifts one out to center field. Gardner is there, and yet another 1-2-3 spring outing for Mariano Rivera. 17 pitches, a strikeout here in the 6th. And as we take it to the bottom half of the 6th inning, Mo's night is done. Yanks have more work, down 4-1. Bottom of the 6th coming up here in Tampa with the Yankees trailing the Astros 4-1. Time to get back to Meredith Marakovits for more Yankees news and notes. And let's start with Derek Jeter and how he's feeling, although you have to ask him these days, how are you not feeling? Because he doesn't really want to talk about it.
Well, Bob, the captain was back in the clubhouse this afternoon. It was the first time he met with the media since general manager Brian Cashman came out and said Derek Jeter will likely start the season on the DL. A more realistic date would be April 6th when he's eligible to come off the DL for a return. And Jeter was asked whether or not he saw that as a realistic date. And he said, I'm not going to put a date on it anymore. I'm just going to see how I feel day to day. Whenever I'm ready, I'm ready. He was then asked whether or not he feels as though this was a setback. And he said, well, yeah, it's disappointing I'm not going to be ready for opening day. That was the goal, but not really a setback that I won't be there for opening day. But as far as the healing process is concerned, this is completely normal. They told me that this was going to happen. Just disappointing that he won't be able to join his teammates. First opening day that he will miss since 2001, second in his career. So he's a guy that's looking forward to getting back and inching his way back. However, the Yankees are going to take it slow with him. Brian Cashman had said this is a guy that we want to see play 9 innings defensively before we bring him back up to the big club.
We see Wesley Wright is the reliever for Houston. Brad Peacock goes 5 innings, gives up a run and 2 hits to the Yankees. Robbie Cano leading things off here in the bottom half of the 6th and looks at a strike. Now 0-2. Now, Meredith, Kenny mentioned that we had a chance to just quickly chat with Mark Teixeira. We ran into him in the tunnel downstairs prior to the game. He seems to be pretty optimistic about where he's at in terms of that torn tendon sheath in his right wrist.
He is. He's feeling good, and there was a 70% chance that this thing would heal on its own, 30% chance that he would need surgery, and he's feeling good with where he's at right now. I actually ran into him in the tunnel as well and asked him, so what's the next step? What do you do next? And he mentioned the fact that he'll see the doctor in New York on Monday. If that goes well, he'll lose the brace and start doing some more strengthening exercises in that wrist. So it's looking good. Still not doing any baseball activity. He doesn't have any reason to believe that that exam won't go well, but he is heading north when the team heads north for opening day.
Always amazing who you run into in the tunnel downstairs, isn't it?
All kinds of crazy people. I just ran into David Wells, you know, just guys walking around back and forth all the time.
I see what you mean by crazy people when you mention Wells. Now, let's talk a little bit about Curtis Granderson, also on the field today, and Kenny mentioned out there shagging some balls.
Yes, it was the first time he got to go back out there with his teammates, and I walked up to him at his locker and I said, are you getting antsy? How are you feeling? And he said, yeah, this is difficult. You don't feel like you're a part of the team, especially when you can't do anything, but he did do some cardio, did some stretching and running with the team. That's pretty much what he's been confined to, just some cardio workouts. I asked him how the forearm is, and he said it is healing. He's had a couple x-rays since the injury happened, just 5 pitches in to his spring season, and it said it has shown signs that it's healing. He'll have another x-ray next week, and he said even the range of motion is a little better. Simple things like putting on his contacts. He couldn't do that when he first suffered the injury. He can do that now, and he said he has actually gripped a bat, although he hasn't swung or done anything with it. It no longer hurts to grip the bat. So all signs that he's moving in the right direction, but obviously another guy that's going to be out of this lineup for a while.
All right, Meredith, thank you. We will check back with you a little later for some of the reaction from some of the participants in today's game.
Hey, as always, I'll be looking forward to it.
Sounds good. Kevin Youkilis, the hitter now. Robbie Cano, that shattered bat. Saw an opportunity there when the ball kind of checked up along the first baseline and able to hustle to first and get aboard.
Yeah, it's a mix-up between Wesley Wright, the pitcher, and the new first baseman, Jonathan Singleton.
0-1 pitch to Kevin Youkilis, and a strike. 0-2. Youkilis hit by pitch, was on in the second, and then on in the fourth again on an error by the shortstop, Ronnie Cedeno. Variety of defensive changes. It's now Crow, Barnes, and Burgess in the outfield. Laird, Gonzalez, Martinez, and Singleton around the infield. Corcoran still behind the plate.
Looking at Wright's numbers last year, he was busy out of the bullpen for the Houston Astros. He had a pretty good season. 77 appearances, 2-2 and a 3.27. 54 strikeouts and 52 in the third innings, and only 17 walks. So sounds like the young man had a good season out of the bullpen as a left-hander for these Houston Astros.
And a ball in the dirt, 1-2. Youkilis fouls one away.
You mentioned Singleton at first base. He is actually one of the Astros' better prospects. In fact, they've got a prospect field full of infielders down in the minor leagues. A lot of good prospects, infielders.
It's got that sound again off the bat of Kevin Youkilis. Off the wall as Crow will chase it down and kind of knock it around out there and left. That's good enough to score Cano. Yankees score their second run of the game. Youkilis, a hard hit ball and an RBI, and it's 4-2.
You can hear the fans with the Uke chant, as Youkilis did not miss a home run by much. Had a little overspin on this one. Up, out over the plate, and he just drags it towards the fence. Looked like it had a chance, but remember, the wind is primarily blowing from left to right. Not quite as hard as it was early in the game, but Youkilis just missed his 6th home run of the spring.
By about a foot and a half. But it scores a run for the Yankees. Now 4-2 here in the 6th. And with Youkilis on second, Travis Hafner is the batter. Hafner with a single back in the 4th. He's 1 for 2 tonight. You know, you mentioned the talent pool for the Astros at shortstop. Marwin Gonzalez, another farm product that made the team. He was one of those kids that got called in and said, "You're in." Now Cedeno will play a lot of short, but Gonzalez is versatile, can play around the infield, and it made Tyler Green expendable. And they released him and kept Gonzalez.
Yeah, there's some other players that they have too. Carlos Correa is the #1. He's a shortstop. He's only 18 years old. And Jonathan Singleton had a big year in AA last year. He's a little further along. He had 21 home runs, 88 walks.
And that's Hafner beating the shift once again. Youkilis held up at third base. And the ball getting by the catcher there. So Corcoran getting a break there with the pitcher right backing up. But it does allow Hafner to advance to second.
Hafner showing once again he's starting to come on with the bat. That's his 2nd hit of the night. He's also lined out 1 time. So he's hit the ball hard 3 times. This is Burgess with the throw to the plate. Let's see what happens on this end. The ball gets by the catcher. And as you can see, the pitcher was not in position to back up. That is Wesley Wright. So he's the one who's going to have to chase the ball down. And what happened was when the ball was hit to the right side, he went over to cover first base. So he could not recover, get behind the catcher to back up the throw. And that means Hafner goes down to second on the error by the right fielder.
Well, Bo Porter goes to the bullpen. We'll step aside. Yankees in business with runners at second and third here in the 6th. In the bottom of the 6th, C.J. Fick, the new pitcher, has already thrown one pitch, a strike to Vernon Wells. 4-2 Astros lead it, but the Yankees have runners at second and third with one away, or nobody out, excuse me, and Vernon Wells at the plate.
Fick spent some time last year with St. Louis and then was claimed off waivers by the Houston Astros. And let's see, one of the problems, he had a lot of walks, 18 walks in 24 2/3 innings.
Good breaking ball away, gets Wells to chase. 1-2. Youkilis is at third, Hafner at second.
Heard Wells mention the fact he'd been trying to hit too many home runs in the last couple of years. There's a lot of hits to the opposite field. You just got to go out and get them, especially with 2 strikes.
And to the third base side, and the third baseman, Brandon Laird, right there to make the out, but Youkilis will score, and it's 4-3.
Nice play by Laird, former Yankee farmhand, who got his first major league hit in a Yankee uniform. On the backhand, prevents an extra base hit. And now to throw it, it's right on the money. So Wells will get an RBI as Youkilis came in to score.
Wells in 3 at bats. That was a well struck ground ball. He's also flown out a couple times, so he has put good wood on the ball. And Fick misses away to Juan Rivera. Rivera's 0 for 2, a line out to left field and a fly ball to right. Breaking ball up, just hits the top of the strike zone. 2-1 to Rivera. Rivera chases inside, 2-2.
That's a good sinker after the breaking ball moving away from him. The sinker ran in on his hands. It's almost like a scissor. A lot of movement on that pitch.
Tries to get him to chase outside. Rivera doesn't bite, so the count goes full.
Okay, there's the breaking ball going away. Let's see if he comes back with the sinker in on the hands.
And tries away instead. And it doesn't work out, so Rivera's aboard. Well, fans, this season the Yankees are pleased to introduce the New York Yankees Ticket Exchange by Ticketmaster, the new official resale marketplace of the Yankees and Yankees.com. The Yankees Ticket Exchange is a safe, secure, convenient, and affordable place for fans to buy and resell tickets. Visit Yankees.com/ticket exchange today to buy and resell your tickets. 2 on, 1 away for the Yankees. And here's Eduardo Nunez. 0 for 1, aboard on a walk in the 5th, and he scored at that time the first run for the Yankees on the triple by Gardner.
I guess that wrist is okay because I'm sure the Yankees would have him getting treatment if he had injured it. Remember, he was flexing it after stealing second base. That was last inning.
Well, that's a good sign. Hafner's on second, Rivera on first. Little chopper back to the mound. Fix only play will be to first. 2 away as the runners advance. And that'll bring up Chris Stewart. A couple pops so far in this game. One to the catcher, one to third base.
He hasn't hit the ball hard tonight, so maybe he's saving it for the right time. You know, you think about it as a hitter, you get up there, a couple of strikeouts, then you come up with a couple of men on, and you figure, well, this is the time. If I'm going to get a hit, get it now.
Thick across the heart of the plate. I'm not quite sure that's where Corcoran had set up and wanted it, but he gets away with it.
Yeah, the scissor effect again. Started with a breaking ball, came back with a fastball, and if you're watching in the on-deck circle, you see how he works the other hitters. He worked Rivera the same way.
And he gets a ball over the plate again, and it's a payoff for Stewart. 1 run scores. Rivera to the plate, and they get him on the throw, but not before the Yankees were able to tie the game with the lead runner Hafner scoring. Rivera just a shade too slow, and he's thrown out. But the Yankees tied the game here in the bottom of the 6th. One more look. The throw to the plate. Rivera tried to beat it, but the tag there in time to get him. In part by your tri-state area Volkswagen dealers. Visit VWDealer.com. By Poland Spring Brand, sourced only from carefully selected natural springs. Born better. And by Honda. Get a great deal during the really big spring event. Now at your Honda dealer. Top of the 7th here at George M. Steinbrenner Field. And it's a tie ball game now. The Yankees scoring 3 runs in their half of the 6th. 4-4 against the Astros on the Tri-State Ford scoreboard. And a new first baseman, Lyle Overbay. They've got 3 days to get a look at him, and he takes over for Juan Rivera at first.
Overbay has always been known as a good fielder. Remember him that way with Toronto, and doubles type hitter. Usually hits somewhere in the teens and home runs, double figures.
So Vernon Wells issued number 56, Lyle Overbay number 55. And you look at some of the things he's accomplished overall, drafted by the Diamondbacks in the 18th round in '99. 12 seasons now in the majors. 53 doubles. You mentioned he was a doubles machine. He was back in 2004. And released by the Red Sox, immediately signs a deal with the Yankees. And as Joe Girardi said, they're going to give him as many looks as they can over the next couple days. Time running out before they break camp. See if he can be a valuable asset for them. David Robertson is the new pitcher, facing Marwin Gonzalez.
Good numbers, as usual. It said that Overbay was a doubles machine. Robertson's a strikeout machine.
And the ball in the dirt on 0-2. Mentioned Marwin Gonzalez being another great young talent in the system. One other guy I wanted to point out, because we saw a little bit of major league lineage. Lance McCullers Jr. is there. Delino DeShields.
Yeah, junior.
Yep, junior. 8th overall pick in 2010. How about this, Kenny? 101 stolen bases last year in 135 games.
That's outdoing his dad. His dad could steal a lot of bases as well, but 101?
Big number.
I think he had the green light.
Robertson gets a strikeout of Gonzalez. And now to the top of the Astros order, it's Jose Martinez, who took over at second base for Jose Altuve. He's enjoyed a nice spring, batting .333. And Robertson doesn't waste any time, starts him with strike one. Into right field and into the corner as Ichiro will track it down and have a little bit of problem with it. Martinez slides into second, a 1-out double for Jose Martinez.
Going to the opposite field. Ichiro has a little spin out here in the corner, but it would have been a double anyway.
The conditions a little slippery out there. Now Jonathan Singleton.
That's one more good stretch for Ichiro, which is like every 2 minutes.
I'm thinking we should do that up in the booth. Stretch out our hamstrings, make sure we're game ready.
You know,
limber.
I'd probably tear something at this stage. We talked about Singleton, and he is one of their top prospects. 21 home runs at Double-A last year, 79 runs batted in, 396 on base percentage. And nowadays, in this day and age, when you start throwing an OBP up there, almost 40%, you're certainly going to catch somebody's eye.
Well, I've always said you can't go wrong with a ball player named Singleton.
Yeah. You know what? If he makes the All-Star team, I'll say I'm related.
Robertson in with a strike. 2-1.
And Singleton is not on the 40-man roster as of yet. He was invited to spring training primarily because he's a high prospect, highly touted prospect, and give him some experience in big league camp. Look out.
All right, so Kenny, we talked about the Astros finishing with 55 wins last year. The theory is this season that the teams that they're with in the American League West will be able to beat up on them, fatten their win total because they're playing the Astros. Last year, that sort of thought process came in with the Orioles, in that American League teams might be able to get wins against them and bump their win total up. That didn't happen. Now, I'm not equating the Astros with the Orioles, but I'm saying, could the Astros maybe surprise some people in that it might not be as easy for the American League West teams?
You know, it's interesting, but I think the major adjustment for them is the new league and the new surroundings, going to new cities, well, not completely new cities because of interleague play, but going to certain cities more often than they do. So I think the big adjustment is for the Astros, and that's going to make it more difficult for them. I just think that the Orioles, when you compare the two teams, as the Orioles got going last year, they had some players who were having some pretty good seasons, and they had some players who, Adam Jones, I mean, he'd be the star of this team, and he's one of the stars of the Orioles as well. But they don't have players like that on the Houston Astros. They don't have a player like Nick Markakis on this team.
Now, what they can hope for, the Astros, is that they'll follow the template of what's happened with the Orioles the past 2 years. 2 years ago, they equated to a roller coaster, kind of got to the top and slid back. Last year, they got to the top and then crested that peak and went down and ended up with a playoff spot. As Overbay gets a chance and tosses to Robertson, 2 away.
You know, it's interesting. It might have been better to ask Dave Tremblay, the third base coach of the Astros, because he was the manager of the Orioles when they were struggling a few years ago. And of course, Buck Showalter took over, changed the culture of the team. After 15 consecutive losing seasons, the Orioles are expecting to be a primetime contender as they were last year, finishing 3 games behind the Yankees, or 2 or 3 games behind, 2 games behind the Yankees in the Eastern Division.
There's a DH, Carlos Pena, with 2 away. Struck out a couple times and walked in this game.
I think the Astros, what they're hoping for, Bob, is for a lot of these young players to grow as one and become good ball players almost all at the same time. And Bo Porter, first year, they're going to be patient with him. They're going to be patient with the whole ball club.
Breaking ball misses to Pena, 1-1.
I think it's eventually going to be a good move for them to move to the American League West, because they developed that instant rivalry with the Texas Rangers, and that's an in-state rivalry. I'm sure it's, the Astros have their supporters, the Rangers have theirs, but they're going to meet each other 18 times a year now, and that's should really create some heat down in Texas if you need any more.
And a little chopper past Robertson into the shift. That is the shortstop Nunez, and that is the final out of the inning as the Astros get a couple aboard but can't push them across. The game remains tied at 4 as we hit the 7th inning stretch. And now stay with us as we honor America with the singing of God Bless America.
Please direct your attention to the Yankees dugout and welcome United States Army Staff Sergeant Amelia Fridley, a member of the 10th Special Forces Group Airborne, who is currently assigned to the United States Special Operations Command and Intelligence. Staff Sergeant Fridley is a Tampa native. We would also like to welcome Army Sergeant James Parker, who served in the Army's 82nd Airborne Division. He was deployed to Afghanistan and suffered multiple injuries while there, and is now part of the Wounded Warrior Project. Let's have a warm round of applause for Staff Sergeant Fridley and Sergeant Parker and all the brave men and women all over the world for their sacrifices for our country. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and remove your caps and join in Kate Smith's rendition of God Bless America.
To the ocean
Bottom of the 7th inning here in Tampa. Astros and Yankees all tied at 4 on the Tri-State Ford scoreboard, and Brett Gardner leading things off against the new pitcher for the Houston Astros, right-hander Josh Fields.
Fields coming over to the Astros in the Rule 5 draft. He was picked out of the Boston Red Sox organization. He started his career in the Seattle organization.
Well, Gardner has been aboard twice tonight. A walk in the 3rd. He was caught stealing, but then in the 5th, big triple to score the Yankees' first run. And laces one to center field, starts things off with a single here in the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, Gardner's good spring continues.
Well, tomorrow night, the playoff-bound Brooklyn Nets make a stop in Portland for a battle with Rookie of the Year hopeful Damian Lillard and the Blazers. Coverage on Yes starts at 10 o'clock with the Verizon Fios pregame. Then Ryan Ruocco and Jim Spanarco will follow all the action only on Yes After Dark. That's what it always is on the West Coast. Those late-night games. See if Gardner's on the go here in a tie ball game. Again, already caught stealing once tonight in the 3rd. Ichiro is 0 for 3.
Well, if Gardner takes off, a good chance the infield will open up, and you know Ichiro's kind of a magician with that bat. Somebody's going to have to cover second base, whether it's a second baseman or a shortstop. Right now they're equidistant, so they're not tipping their hand. Who's going to cover?
You mentioned a magician with a bat trying to sneak one down the 3rd baseline. Brandon Laird just beats him out, but the runner advances.
Second nice play by Laird, going to his backhand. Made a nice play on Wells a little earlier. This one, a little squibber off the bat. It's actually moving away from him. Reaches out from behind the bag, and now the throw.
Laird told the other day that he'll start the season at AAA, but also seemed to get assurances that it won't be long before he's back up.
Yeah, he's got some talent. His older brother Gerald, catcher in the big leagues.
And now Robbie Cano, his 4th at bat of the night. Grounded back to the pitcher into second base and singled and scored in the 6th. Gardner's at second with 1 away. Foul ball, 0-2. Cano, obviously, Kenny, we talked about this, enjoying 2 spring trainings in a way. One with the Yankees, in which he's played well, and of course one with the Dominican team in the WBC, in which he played very, very well.
Yep, well, he got a trophy.
Yep.
And he got an MVP trophy in that other spring training, from that other spring training. During the regular season, this might be a situation, at least earlier in the count, where Gardner might think about stealing 3rd with 1 out, but you know, maybe not so much in spring training. He's been thrown out once tonight. Dangerous situation if you're an outfielder. You have to play a few steps closer. You want to have a play at the plate. But Gardner's quick. He'd be tough to throw out even on the hardest of base hits. If you play too close for Cano, something's going to get by you, and it's going to be an extra base hit.
Cano has a nice big hole by that second base bag. And strike 3, and Cano can't believe it.
Let's take a look at this pitch, and you can see where the catcher Corcoran comes up quickly. I don't know if that blocks the umpire's view. Now that was a strike. That was a strike.
Little deceptive on camera given where Corcoran was set up and where he caught it, but it did look like a strike. So
he had to reach back over the plate to make the reception of the pitch.
2 away, breaking ball to Kevin Youkilis in for a strike. Youkilis doubled and scored in the Yankees' 3-run sixth. That helped tie things up.
If you've been thinking about runs batted in for the Yankees lately, this has been the guy you want at the plate. This will probably be his last at bat of the night. He wants to make it count.
Well, he came about 1.5 feet away from a home run with that double in the sixth. Wells struck out to left field.
Not too happy with this call. Man.
Breaking ball stays alive by fouling it off.
Yeah, sometimes you can play possum as a hitter, and what I mean is that you can react to a strike call like you really didn't like it, but what you're trying to do is make the pitcher throw another one.
Fields has a flat fastball, about 91, as fast as he's been clocked tonight, so definitely hittable if you get a pitch somewhere around the plate. Corcoran sets up outside, and instead Fields goes up high and gets Youkilis to swing. So that'll do it here at the bottom of the 7th. Gardner gets into scoring position, but he's left there by Youkilis, who strikes out to end the inning as we head to the 8th. Well, time for the game summary brought to you by Delta. Tie ball game here as we head to the top of the 8th. 4-4, 4 runs on 7 hits and 2 errors for the Astros. 4 runs, 7 hits and 1 error for the Yankees. CC Sabathia got the start, pitched 5 innings of 6-hit, 4-run baseball. Vernon Wells in his Yankees debut so far 0 for 3 with an RBI ground out. The Yankees offense rallying from 4 down with 1 in the 5th and 3 in the 6th. A lot of defensive changes for the Yankees. We'll get to those in just a bit. One thing to note is the new pitcher on the mound, fourth pitcher of the night for the Yankees, and it's Jabba Chamberlain. He'll start things off against Michael Burgess. One pitch, Burgess to the right side. Slick move to his right by Overbay. On to Jabba, one away. And that's the value, Kenny, of Overbay and what they hope to see more of over the course of the next 3 days.
His first play, well, one of the first plays he's made as a Yankee was a nice one. We've seen that before. He's been able to flash the leather.
So around the diamond, Ben Francisco's in left. Melky Mesa takes over in center. Thomas Neal is out in right. Third base, Ronier Mustillier. Jason Nix at short. Gil Velasquez at second. Overbay remains at first after taking over for Juan Rivera last inning. And then it's Bobby Wilson behind the plate. Now, there is value in what Overbay can do there defensively. This is not a knock against Juan Rivera, but not as good a defensive first baseman.
No.
In fact, the past couple games that we've called, Rivera has not been able to pick a ball in the dirt in each game. There's the catcher, Carlos Corporan. To the right side again. Overbay. The flip to Jabba, 2 away.
I thought that was a replay.
Well, if we showed you the other replay, would you be able to tell the difference?
Well, no, because Jabba was smiling on the last one, too. But that mustache is really coming in, isn't it? Here it is. Another ground ball to the right side. Just a little easier. Wasn't hit quite as hard. Easier play. Jabba had more time. And there's a smile.
He's probably laughing. The new guy's getting some work. 3 chances already in this game for Overbay, and this is his second inning of work. Now Brandon Laird for the Astros took over at third base. We've already seen him have a couple nice defensive plays. He's up with 2 away here in the 8th. And strike 1 from Jabba.
Look at those numbers this spring. Still going to AAA, though.
Well struck out to the gap in right center. He's going to head for second base. And as Mesa retrieves it, he's in there with a 2-out stand-up double.
Well, Bob, you had mentioned the fact that Laird's going to AAA, but they have told him that he might be one of the first guys recalled. And if he gets off to a good start, it hits like he has in spring training. If anybody falters up here at the big league level, his next destination will be Houston, Texas.
Get a little bit of time with the big league club and the Yankees, and it looks like he's leaned out from that. Maybe in a little better shape. Always a pretty good hitter.
I think one year he led the Yankee minor leaguers in runs batted in.
With 2 away and Laird on second, here's Brandon Barnes. Barnes a solo home run in the 4th. Part of his 1-for-3 night. Jabba misses up high, 2-0. To a pitch fastball outside part of the plate. The other day we saw Jabba, I think, dial it up to 97. No, was it 94?
I think we saw maybe a 97, but maybe I wasn't watching. You saw the 97? I'll take your word for it. He's capable. But he's been consistently around 94 all spring.
You know who I was thinking of? Preston Claiborne.
Oh, okay.
I think he dialed it up to 97 the other day for the Yankees.
Here's your 94.
Brandon Laird on second, and the 2-2 on the way to Brandon Barnes. Flicks that one into the seats to stay alive.
Yeah, he did a good job of spoiling a pretty tough pitch from Jabba Chamberlain. That pitch would have put away a lot of hitters.
And they do it again. Goes a little further outside, dots the corner, and gets it. So Jabba allows a man to second on a 2-out double, but that's it. Big strikeout here to end things in the top half of the 8th. We'll take it to the bottom half. Back in Tampa, bottom of the 8th. The Yanks and Astros all tied at 4. CC Sabathia got the start and went 5 innings. And a short time ago, Meredith Marakovits had the chance to chat with him.
Thanks, guys. With the Yankees starting pitcher, CC Sabathia. CC, first inning, ran into a little bit of trouble. What adjustments did you make that allowed you to settle down the rest of the game?
It came out and the cutter was a little flat, so we decided to start going with the changeup a little more to the right-handers and, started getting some outs. So, it's good to be able to have the options to, make adjustments in the middle of the game.
When you look at your spring as a whole, how do you evaluate yourself?
Feel good. Excited that, I was able to come out and be healthy. I have no injuries. I feel great, so I'm excited and ready to go Monday.
You mentioned Monday. What does it mean to you to be the guy whose number they call for now the 5th consecutive year as the opening day starter?
It's exciting. Anytime you get a chance to pitch on opening day is exciting. Taking the ball for the Yankees means a lot, so, I'll be ready to go.
When you look at this AL East as a whole this year, how difficult is this division going to be?
It's going to be tough. It's always one of the best in baseball. And anytime you add Jose Reyes and Mark Burley and, the guys that Toronto added, it's going to get even tougher. So, we know what we need to do. We have a pretty good team, so we can go out and just play well and try to win the division.
CC, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Send it back to you guys upstairs.
Right, Meredith, thank you. Travis Hafner leading things off here and dodging one right there from Reiner Cruz in the bottom of the 8th.
CC sounds like he's ready, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
Well, we mentioned in the scouting report on CC Sabathia, in his Yankee career, 74 wins, 29 losses, the best winning percentage of any Yankee pitcher in history with 100 decisions.
You can count on him for 200 innings plus.
Even in a year where he went on the disabled list twice, still got 200 innings in.
Hafner has a couple singles tonight, scored back in the 6th. Big swing and a miss on a 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
Not only was it 96, Bob, it was moving away. Had some movement on it as well. Various ways pitchers can get hitters out, either velocity, location, or movement. And that had a lot of all three of those things. That's why Hafner couldn't get to it.
Cruz tries inside and nearly kneecaps Hafner there for the 2nd time in this at bat.
Believe me, that can get old after a while if you're a hitter.
Three-two to Hafner. Drilled to right field, and that will get into the corner. Hafner making his way to second base. Burgess gets the ball in, but Hafner is ahead of the throw, and he's got a leadoff double here in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, you saw Hafner's overall batting average at 175, but he is starting to heat up. That's his 3rd hit of the night. He was swinging the bat much better at the tail end of spring training, just when you want him to get going. Burgess with a good strong throw, just was not able to be handled, as Hafner's in with a double, and now the Yankees have put in a pinch runner. So a good night, lined out to short, singled twice, and now is doubled.
As you said, he's dialing it up a notch as spring gets ready to wrap up. Neil Medchell is the pinch runner. Here's Ben Francisco, took over in left field for Vernon Wells. And a little bunt attempt, but it's a pop to the pitcher. Cruz has it for 1 away.
Well, he was in charge of getting Medchell over to third base and could not do it. Popped up a bunt. Tie ball game, late in ball games, you got to execute, get things done.
Lyle Overbay pulled in about 5:30 tonight. Signed his minor league deal with the Yanks. And came into the game a couple innings ago, has made a couple nice defensive plays, and now his first at bat as a Yankee. Again, Cruz coming inside. Corcoran can't handle it, so Medchell advances to third base.
You know, probably the happiest person in the Yankee dugout is Ben Francisco. He couldn't get the bunt down, but the wild pitch does his job for him. Look out. Just no chance for the catcher Corcoran to come up with this one. And this is going to force the Astros to bring the infield in. Almost got him on the kneecap. It seems like Cruz is having problems with that inside corner of the left-handed hitters.
So defensively now the infield in. Overbay joins the Yankees, having played 19 spring games for the Red Sox. 7 runs batted in those games. And lifts one out into center field. This should get the job done. Shallow center though. Medchell will tag. Barnes throw to the plate, and it doesn't get the job done. Right on the plate, Corcoran with the tag, and the Yankees fail to score on the fly ball by Lyle Overbay. A good throw by Barnes in center. Ball just not hit deep enough. And a good pick by Corcoran, plus the tag. We're tied at 4 still as we head to the 9th.
Why do I like this?
Well, this Saturday, join the Yes Network for an historic afternoon as the Yankees pay a visit to the Cadets of West Point for a rare exhibition contest against Army. Our special event coverage starts Saturday at 2 o'clock only on Yes. 4 runs for the Astros, 4 runs for the Yankees as we head to the top half of the 9th inning. Boone Logan takes over in relief. Start things off against Marwin Gonzalez.
About a week or so ago, the Cadets were here at Steinbrenner Field working out. I'm sure they enjoyed the warmer weather. Looked very young and they were so polite.
Well, it's going to be a great time up there. Saturday, we'll have wall-to-wall coverage. Michael Kay and Al Leiter will call the game. Right. Jack Curry will be there. And Kenny, you and I will be watching and absorbing.
Yes, but they won't be in Washington. We'll be in Washington the day before.
Right. Now that's going to be a fun ball club to see and to keep an eye on all season long.
You speaking of the Nationals?
Yeah.
Well, you have to remember they led the major leagues in wins last year. 98 victories in the National League East. A lot of people feel that the Atlanta Braves are going to give them a tussle in the East. Maybe the Phillies have one more run in them.
Now the Nationals, just a few seasons ago, were at the bottom of the division. They have a lot of talent. They've risen to the top. And you mentioned Bo Porter was part of their staff. You know, he's hopeful that maybe in 3-4 years they can adopt that mentality with Houston.
Yeah, exactly. As we said, for a while, the Nationals were the doormats of the National League East. They are nothing but one of the better teams in baseball now.
Gonzalez, hard hit past Mustillier, and a leadoff single here in the top of the 9th.
And this year, if they make the playoffs, Steven Strasburg will actually be able to pitch.
You won't have to answer those questions. How do you feel not being a part of it? He was not happy about that.
No, he wasn't. When you can't blame him. He's a competitor. He'll be on the mound opening day for the Nationals.
Back to the top of the order for the Astros. Jose Martinez is the batter. Martinez doubled in the 7th.
Let's see how Bo Porter wants to play this. There should be a bunt in the offing here.
And there is. He squares, and it's in for a strike.
That's one thing you see a lot more of in the National League, particularly with pitchers in the ball games when they come up with a chance to advance a runner. They will be trying to lay down the bunts. That's why it should be interesting this year to see how American League teams adapt to interleague games every once in a while, because your pitchers are going to have to hit. They'll have to take batting practice a little bit more often. The Yankees' first road series in a National League park will be in May. They go to Colorado on May the 7th. And they play the Mets at Citi Field later on in the month.
And Boone Logan 0-2 in for a strike, and that'll do it for Martinez.
Well, each team has failed in a sacrifice attempt. The pop-up by Francisco and Martinez eventually caught looking during his at-bat.
Now Jonathan Singleton, who walked in his first plate appearance. Good spot for Logan to be in, working on those lefty-on-lefty matchups.
Yes, it's true, although I would say even more so than Clay Rapata, who is almost strictly lefty-on-lefty. Boone Logan can be left in there against the right-handers as well. He does a pretty good job against both types of hitters. That was a nasty pitch. Singleton trying to check his swing. Looked like a strike until right about there.
Logan's been ahead of every hitter. That's a good sign. 0-2 and struck out Martinez and was 0-2 on Singleton.
Yeah, that was a nice 0-2 pitch there. And you notice it was down out of strike zone on the inner half. Maybe let's see it go back away this time. Nope, they're going to throw over the first. But I think right now they've got him set up for that same sort of breaking ball that he threw that got him to get a check swing strike. Well, left-handed pitchers face left-handed batters. If you're a left-handed hitter, they're going to try and primarily get you out with a breaking ball. There it is.
And he gets the job done, 2 away.
Not only were he threw 2 very good ones. Both of them ended up out of the strike zone, but they looked like strikes until just about in front of the plate. Singleton with 2 strikes, don't want to get caught looking, so he commits and is struck out. Some good pitching by Boone Logan. It's good to see him because early in the spring we didn't see much of him because he was dealing with elbow issues.
Gonzalez is at first with 2 away, and now Trevor Crowe. A little chopper foul. Crowe grounded out in the 7th inning. Allowed the runners to advance to 2nd and 3rd, so there's a little bit of a threat for the Astros to potentially take the lead. Didn't happen, though. A couple ground ball outs by David Robertson. And Logan just misses outside, 1-1. Tie ball game 4-4 here in the top of the 9th between the Yankees and Astros. Again, the Astros will come to Yankee Stadium April 29th to May 1st for a 3-game series, and then the Yankees wrap up the regular season in Houston with a 3-game set. And out to right field, Thomas Neal has it, and that will do it. Again, the wind blowing out there, so a little tricky, but Neal handles it, and that will do it here in the top of the 9th. Still tied at 4. We head to the bottom of the ninth here at George M. Steinbrenner Field, and you see Bo Porter and Joe Girardi deciding what to do if this game goes beyond the ninth, and it looks like they're going to play 20 innings. No. They've decided to go a max of 10, even if the game ends tied. But the Yanks have a chance to win it in regulation here. Tied at 4 in the ninth. Jose Valdez will face Nix, Neal, and Mustillier.
12 games for Valdez last year out of the Houston bullpen, and he actually started in the Yankee organization. This is his 13th professional season, and he's 30 years old. He's been around since he was 17.
Crackles a fastball in there, up and in on Nix, 1-0. This was the Astros game offensively early. 3 in the first off CC Sabathia. Another run in the 4th inning, and then the Yankees answered back with 1 in the 5th and 3 in the 6th. We've seen a couple debuts tonight, Kenny. Vernon Wells got the start in left. Had an 0-for-3 night. Lyle Overbay is at first base now. What do you think so far?
Look out. That's what I think. But the Yankees have the potential tying run on base. It's a hard way to get on, but got things started. Yeah, you know, it's going to take a while for them to get used to it. Although Overbay, what do you has 3 days?
Yeah,
to get his act together here and see if the Yankees want to maintain him on the ball club.
Now Thomas Neal.
Let's see how Joe Girardi wants to play. He wants to have a bunt. Brandon Laird in on the grass at third. Not on that pitch.
No indication from Neal, and strike 1. Third base coach Robbie Thompson with the signals. And Neal able to check himself there, 1-1.
Neal again looking at the signs. Showing no intent thus far to lay down the bunt. Which leads me to believe if Valdez falls behind on the count, more apt to have the runner going and Neal put the ball in play somewhere if he can.
Well, they're paying close attention to Nix at first. And that roils the crowd here at Steinbrenner Field.
Okay, now he's ahead on the count. Neal looking for some sort of sign. You see he's having a pretty good spring. Was it 314 it said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was his double A numbers
last year. Okay. Still good numbers.
And Nix is on the move, and Neal swings.
There he goes. Trying to make something happen here in the bottom of the 9th inning. The reason why you wait till the hitter is ahead on the count because the pitcher is more apt to throw a strike, a ball that's actually easier to put into play. And when the runner moves, that means somebody in the infield is going to have to cover second base. And sometimes you get lucky. You hit a ground ball through that hole, or you get a hit, and the runner's chased all the way to third base.
Nick stays put this time. Yeah. Neal fouls one off again.
Yeah, once the count got even, you miss your chance until the count gets to 3-2. And if he gets to 3-2, you can expect Knicks to be on the move.
And a swing and a miss from Neal. And that's out number 1.
Looked like a changeup, maybe a splitter, and he chased it.
Well, with 1 away, it's Ronnie Mustelier, and play of the game brought to you by Jeep. This is what he did Sunday, Kenny.
Sunday, it's a walk-off. The wind was blowing a gale to left field, and Mustelier, a game-winning home run as the Yankees beat the Rays 7-6.
So he'd like to get play of the game honors for a second straight game here on Yes.
Wow. I don't know if that's ever been done. Double dipping. Especially in spring training.
Well, he's a guy who can do it. 2 homers, 5 runs batted in the spring. Very impressive with the bat. Has an opposite field home run. Wind is blowing out to right field.
Yankees do like one of the first things I was told when I came to spring training this year. Stick Michael said, watch this guy swing the bat. And he had good numbers throughout the minor leagues. And he's done nothing to hurt his reputation here in spring training this year.
Another pitch inside, 2-0. You remember the swing prior to that home run.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. My ribcage hurt.
Yeah.
After he had such a vicious swing at it. Right now, he's got a hitter's count. Valdez is playing with fire here.
It's always good to hear the crowd reaction when they don't like what the opposing pitcher's doing. Nix is on first with 1 away. 2-0 pitch to Mustelier. To short. And second for 1 on to first, and a double play. So no big finish for Mustelier there. We've got more baseball coming up. Top of the 10 from Tampa next. We take it to the top of the 10th here in Tampa. Astros 4, Yankees 4. And the new pitcher for the Yankees is Vidal Nuno. Nuno this spring has been in 6 games, started a couple games, tidy ERA of 0.66, and a good strikeout to walk ratio. Opponents hitting just $180 against him.
Yeah, he's had a very good spring. We saw him in starting roles earlier this spring when Joe Girardi was hesitant to put the likes of Andy Pettit or CC Sabathia on the mound, knowing it's a long spring training and not wanting to pitch them against American League East rivals. So Nuno got a couple of starts and he pitched very well. Now he came in relief the other day and he wasn't quite as effective, and that would be his role if he has an outside chance of making this team. Clay Rapata appears to maybe not be ready for the season. He's had bursitis in his shoulder. So the Yankees are looking for somebody to fill that role of a second left-hander out of the bullpen to go along with Boone Logan. And Nuno is getting a look.
Well, he'll start things off here in the 10th inning against Fernando Martinez. Larry Rothschild will keep a close eye on what Nuno brings to the table tonight. Again, you mentioned he struggled a little bit on Sunday to bounce back here in the 10th. And starts Martinez off with ball one.
Yeah, he was able to only go 1/3 of an inning, and he gave up a couple of hits and a walk, and that was by far his worst outing of the spring.
Martinez taking over for Carlos Pena, who got the start at DH tonight.
Ooh, good slider. One thing I've liked about Nuno, you notice he's not messing around. He gets the ball, looking for the sign. Let's go. He's always in the attack mode. The hitters have to slow him down.
And I just think there's so much value in that for a pitcher. But I'm going to ask you about that, because when you're playing behind a guy like that, what's that like?
Well, playing behind it, it's good. But when you're up at the plate, they're always coming right after you. Here he comes again.
Chopper to second. That's Gil Velasquez. Boots it. And Martinez will be aboard.
Looked like a routine play, but it hits off the heel of the glove of Velasquez, and Martinez is going to be safe. We're going to get a pinch runner at first base.
Michael Burgess now will be the hitter with the pinch runner on first. And that's number 90, Nolan Fontana.
Nolan Fontana.
Burgess grounded to first. And Nuno misses 1-0.
Find it interesting. There's not even the thought of a bunt attempt here, right?
Fontana's on to go. They got him picked. Overbay, perfect throw to second.
They called a balk.
Now they got him with a balk. All right.
Good. Move was a little bit too good. And one of the things that you will also see, that a pitcher like Andy Pettit, a veteran, if he throws over there, they're probably not going to call this. And let's see if we can see the reason why the balk. Does he pull his leg? Yeah, he went behind the rubber and then went to first base.
And Burgess comes through there. He'll move down to second on the throw through to home plate, which holds the runner at third. So Fontana at third. Burgess is into second, and the Astros are in business here with 2 on in scoring position and nobody out.
Well, Dave Tremblay, the third base coach, figured with nobody out, and Mesa has a strong arm in center field, and he was going to make sure. So he holds the runner at third. That's Fontana now at third base. On the throw to the plate, Burgess goes to second. But the Astros are set up pretty well here in the 10th inning. Second and third, nobody out. And
now the catcher Carlos Corporan, who has a single and 4 at-bats tonight. Lifts a breaking ball out to right field, slicing into foul territory. Over by the Yankees bullpen.
You know, it's really interesting here is to watch Lyle Overbay set up as a first baseman in this situation. The infield's in. Yankees are trying to cut off that runner at third, but look how far off the line Overbay is. I'm thinking he must have a very detailed scout report on the hitter.
Chopper to third, short rather. Nix throwing home and getting Fontana for out number 1.
I am very surprised that the runner went on that ground ball. With nobody out, usually they tell you make the ball go through. Instead, it's on contact. Fontana might have some good speed, but not good enough to beat that out.
So now 1 away, runners at first and second. And Brandon Laird is the hitter. Laird doubled back in the 8th.
That was most surprising to see that play.
Nuno in with a strike, 1-1. Michael Burgess is at second. Carlos Corcoran at first. And Laird drills one out into left center field. Melky Mesa makes the catch for out number 2, and the runners will have to hold.
Mesa has a very strong throwing arm.
So Nuno gets into a jam, can now get himself out with 2 away here in the top of the 10th. And the batter is Brandon Barnes. Barnes has homered tonight, struck out in his last at bat.
He's the only Astros played this whole game. Check that. Corcoran, who was just up there earlier this inning. He's caught the whole game.
He's at first base. Burgess is at second, and Barnes lifting one down the right field line and hooking foul.
That's almost against the rules of spring training.
Yeah.
He's catching a whole game. And extra innings at that.
Well, especially since Bo Porter made wholesale changes that one inning. Surprised they didn't put a backup catcher in there. They brought 3 catchers with them. Rene Garcia and Ryan McCurdy are the others. And Nuno, nice breaking ball there for strike 2.
That might have been his best pitch of the inning.
And another breaking ball just misses inside, evens the count at 2-2.
Trying to get Barnes to commit again.
Nuno tries to dial that one up, and it gets past Bobby Wilson, who can't find it, so the runners will advance to second and third.
That's a wild pitch. Wilson got a little leather on it, but not enough. Runners move up.
So now a full count to Brandon Barnes. And again for Nuno, a chance to get out of a jam and get out of the inning. Gotta have a little conference with Bobby Wilson, make sure they're on the same page. Three-two to Barnes. Fouled straight back.
Nuno showing a lot of confidence in his breaking pitches. 3-2. He threw another one.
May have gotten away with one there.
Yeah, it wasn't the best one. That was the worst one that he's thrown to Barnes in this at bat. Barnes had a very representative swing at that one.
And Barnes out to right center field. Neal is there, and that will do it. So Nuno gets into a jam, but gets out of it. We know we're playing 10 only, so last chance for the Yankees coming up. Back in Tampa, and here we go. Last chance for the Yankees. Bo Porter and Joe Girardi have agreed to play 10 in a tie ball game now. 4-4. Astros had a chance to score with a couple on in the top of the 10th, but Vidal Nuno able to get out of the jam. So now bottom of the 10th. And Bobby Wilson, the catcher, will lead things off against Andrew Robinson, the latest pitcher for the Astros.
Andrew Robinson is not on the 40-man roster of spring training invitee. Gets the call, and he was brought along on this trip just in case this happened. Did you go to the extra innings? And out of Georgia Tech, he gets the pitch.
And he gets strike one to Wilson. Now Wilson came in relief of Chris Stewart behind the plate. And there's a new catcher in for Corporan now. For the Astros, it's Ryan McCurdy. As Wilson pops one into foul territory, out number one. Well, this is game 17 of 19 that we're doing in the exhibition season here on Yes. It's our last one in Tampa. And from all of us at Yes to all the great men and women of our Tampa crew, we cannot thank them enough. They make our stay here tremendous, and it's always great working with them.
Well, we should warn them. We'll be back in the month of April. We'll be over across the causeway at the Tropicana Field, playing for real against the Rays. So you all have been put on notice that yes, we'll be back.
They have been fairly warned.
Okay.
And a couple of them look terrified.
Yeah.
It was Gil Velasquez with one away. Robinson in with a fastball, 1-1.
Let me see if I can give them an exact date. Yeah, April 22nd, 23rd, 24th, in case you want to make other plans. That's when the Yankees will be coming back.
You're telling them good day to schedule a field trip at the kids' school?
Well, I mean, they have other venues where they could. I don't know if the Tampa Bay Lightning's working in one of those days.
To short. That's Gonzalez, 2 away. Well, on Sunday, we saw Ronnie Hermosillier come up with a game-winning home run for the Yankees in 10. Now Melky Mesa has that opportunity. Hermosillier did it with nobody out. He led off the inning. Mesa's down to the final out for the Yankees.
You know, outside of the low batting average, look at the home runs and runs batted in for Melky Mesa this spring. That's pretty impressive.
Mesa out to right field and into the Yankees bullpen. Melky Mesa showing off his power arm in center tonight. We'll see if he can show off his power bat. As Kenny mentioned, 3 home runs already this spring. Mesa turns around a fastball, keeps the Yankees alive, base hit with 2 outs.
Mesa also has stolen base type speed at first base as he's there now, following a 2-out single. You know, one thing about this spring, when the Yankees started to get their injuries, you know, Melky Mesa was in the picture. But now, with the additions of Brennan Bosch and now Vernon Wells today, you know, it appears that Melky Mesa is headed for the minor leagues in the Scranton Wilkes-Barre at the beginning of the season. But I get a feeling he's going to be a big leaguer one day, and with regularity.
Neil Medchell came over in as a pinch runner for Travis Hafner, who started as the DH tonight. This is Medchell in his first at bat. Stints at single and double A last year. 11 homers, 43 runs batted in. And Medchell lashes one out to the gap in left center field, but Crow is there, and that will do it. So Medchell puts a charge into it, but the game ends up tied by agreement between Joe Girardi and Bo Porter. They decided to go 10, and the Yankees unable to score, although they did get one on here with a 2-out single for Melky Mesa in the 10th. So let's take a look at the totals from tonight's ball game between the Astros and the Yankees. 4 runs apiece as it ends at a tie. 10 hits for the Astros, 2 errors, a couple errors for the Yankees as well. 9 hits, 4 runs in a game that took 3 hours 16 minutes. CC Sabathia goes 5 innings, allows 4 runs, 3 of them in the first, and then Vernon Wells makes his debut for the Yankees, goes 0 for 3. A few hard hit balls, an RBI ground out, and we saw the debut of Lyle Overbay as well. That will wrap it up from George M. Steinbrenner Field this spring. Tonight's game produced by Bill Bolin, coordinating director John Moore, our senior vice president of operations Ed Delaney, our supervising producer Woody Fryman, and the executive producer is Mr. John J. Filippelli. Join us again Friday for Yankees baseball in the nation's capital for an exhibition game against the Nationals. Coverage begins at 2 o'clock on Yes. Once again, the final score: Yankees 4, Astros 4. For all of us, so long from Tampa.